Good evening and welcome to the June meeting of the Development Review Board. If you haven't signed in, please do so. And for people online, you need to go down to,
Go down to the chat function. Put your first name, last name, mailing address, and item on the agenda that you're interested in. If you don't do that, we won't be able to mail you guys copies of the decisions. So if you would like a copy of any decisions that we issue, please do that.
and also, if you want to be what's called an interested party, as it's defined by Vermont law, that gives you the right to appeal any decision that we may or may not make. You need to offer evidence or speak to some extent about the application you're interested in, or submit something in writing. And that would give you the status as an interested party. So we've got a pretty full agenda. Before we get started, I'd like a little housekeeping. I'd like to offer a motion to the board. We've had the difficulty of getting documents from both applicants and interested parties right up till an hour before the meeting, and I find that impossible. So I'd like to offer a motion to the board that any documents by either an applicant or an interested party that is tendered to us within 5 days of a hearing, we don't have to regard it, we don't have to accept it, and it may cause us to continue a hearing to the next available meeting. Is that something the board would like to adopt?
I would.
Would you second that?
Yep, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 David? Great.
So that was Roger, your motion, and then David second.
Actually, David's motion.
Can you motion as chair? Can you do that? as your
I'm doing it.
Okay, fair enough. Works for me.
So that means you can accept anything you want, Tyler, and disseminate it to us, but we don't need to accept it.
Yeah,
If it
you
comes
reserve
in.
the right to it. To accept.
And many towns are very strict on that, so.
We're gonna be just a little housekeeping on our meeting, and Keith are working on something anyways, that should hopefully.
Because this isn't acceptable.
I know.
Okay, we have, as I said, a full agenda. The first matter on the calendar is SKP 2023-07 Eden Sand and Gravel. They're seeking a sketch plan approval for a 3-lot subdivision located at 854 Kenyon Road. There'll be 3 lots. One will be a sand pit, continue to be a sand pit. And a second lot, they're proposing a 2-story, 2-bay office space and a 3rd building lot. So. Why don't you introduce yourself? Sure.
I'm Tyler Billingsley with East Engineering. I'm helping out Eden Sand and Gravel with Greg and Don Tatro on the subdivision. So this is on the subdivision first and then the conditional use, or are we doing both at the same time? Just so
They are related, but I just figured.
they're kind of tied
I don't see
together.
why we can't do both at once.
Okay.
I don't
Kind of
think they're that
overlapping.
different. Let me swear you in to swear affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Yes,
Okay, why don't you first discuss the sketch plan?
sure. So it's an existing, the lot now is an existing sand and construction pit owned by Eden Sand and Gravel, which is a kind of a sister company to GW Tatro. I think it's been a commercial sand pit for quite a while. And there's a small kind of finger of land that comes off of the south side of that parcel. It's kind of a little bit further away from the actual sand extraction. That I approached Eden Sand and Gravel at doing a small subdivision with the purpose of lot 2, which is the kind of the middle lot, being a small hopefully conditional use office space.
Do we have a sketch plan to look at? I didn't see one.
Sketch, yeah, all this there, the stuff is all on.
Oh, it's on there?
on the website.
Okay.
Yeah,
I can actually share the screen right now too. Hang on a minute,
it was a couple weeks ago.
Oh, okay, it was one of the maps, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
and I can actually here, give me a moment.
That's always pretty.
So the existing sand and gravel pit will remain, as you said, with the same access that they have off kind of the bottom side of the north side of Kenyon Road. The two proposed lots, the two new proposed lots will each have their own driveway access off of Kenyon Road. There we go. As you get kind of further up towards Sylvan Ridge. And for the proposed lot two, I think the conditional use is less than 2,500 square feet for an office. I'm gonna be below that. It's gonna look and feel very similar to the other two bay garages that are on Sylvan Ridge and Turnstone Lane, and as you get further down Kenyon Road. So it's a two bay garage. I'll probably save the upstairs to be finished at a later date, but downstairs would be office space. Space for survey work, plotters, copiers, just a small professional office space for East Engineering.
But no residential use.
No, not at this time. I think maybe in the future, but at this point, just a small office building, essentially, two big
You
garage.
still will need a septic permit.
What, I'm sorry?
You'll still need a septic permit.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I'd still need a septic permit, still need to drill a well. I'd probably put a septic system in larger than I need just for future use. And so it kind of sits on, it's pretty steep as you get off Kenyon Road, but there's kind of a plateau in between two gullies on lot two, and then lot three is a bit flatter, kind of bisected by a VEC corridor,
Is the red right here.
which is the red, right?
How long a driveway will that be?
I haven't fully laid it out yet, but it would be, getting back past the setback, and I think I would need room for parking spots per the code, so 80 feet with parking in front. And setback from the well too, so I would think 80 or 100 feet, just get it back from the road, and that road does kick up some dust in the summertime during dry period, so I wouldn't want to be too close.
Gravel driveway?
Yeah, gravel driveway, yeah. So it's basically just a two-story, kind of a loft upstairs, two garage bays downstairs. I think I included a kind of a simple elevation.
Yeah, we saw those.
I tried to make it look and feel and fit to kind of the character of the neighborhood and some of the surrounding houses and.
Which is a sand pit.
Well, I guess the neighbors to the south and west.
You'll have full visibility from the road, from Kenyon Road, correct? For the building?
I would think so, yeah, it's pretty tall pines in there, but it's, you can see pretty far in
Right,
there,
but
so.
it should look like the surrounding houses, and I agree.
Yeah, the surrounding houses, especially across the road, you can see them from the road, but you've got, especially with leaf on, you gotta kind of look for them.
And so along with that is you're asking for conditional use for the building.
Correct, it's the existing lot is, it's kind of a split zoning across the lot. I'm not exactly sure I was on that way, but it's part of the lot is industrial
AR.
commercial.
Oh,
And then the southern part of the lot, where lot 2 and 3 would be, are actually where the split is to go from industrial commercial to AR. Greg had mentioned at some point, he had talked to a previous zoning administrator and said, well, at some point you can just potentially rezone, so the entire parcel is in industrial commercial, which would allow a small office like this, but a conditional use seemed easier than trying to do to rezone a lot.
I agree with you.
So I tried to take the path of least resistance, I guess.
So office is conditional use in both AR and
Yeah,
industrial.
it is, in that particular district. There was a couple other things that I noted on there, is that there's a certain level of parking too, that he's required to have.
Right.
And given the scale of the development, you guys, it's your guys' call whether or not you want to waive any of the parking for that, just given the
I
scale.
think the calculation was 8 parking spots, which for one employee who has pretty lowly traveled visitors seems like a lot. I'll do it if I need to, but there is space there in the future. I did need to add more parking spots, certainly add on to a gravel driveway and parking area. So I asked for a
So how many
variance
spots does the
6.
ordinance require?
9.
9.
Yep.
And you want 8,
I said 6.
6.
with,
And
and then that's excluding the 2 bays of the garage, so.
And will you anticipate much in the way of delivery traffic? Like UPS or FedEx?
I have a question about the subdivision. So there are 3 lots in the subdivision.
Yep.
Why is there a lot 3? Why isn't lot 3 part of lot 1?
Lot 2 I liked better, and I said I can't, let me blunt. And I could have kept this little kind of sneak through, but to keep it all one parcel, and Greg said, rather than have like a little cut through
Okay,
to
so
keep it
they-
one parcel, just connect the dots and have an extra parcel instead of this weird
Perfect.
kind of 20-foot strip just to keep it one lot.
I get it.
But you're not asking for that lot, that third lot to be considered a building lot.
I think it would be I think it would meet all the,
I mean, are you getting septic for that?
I was just gonna do septic for lot 2 at this point,
Okay, so we,
just because it's my
then
own interest.
we wouldn't be able to approve that as a building lot.
Okay, then we would do septic then.
So you want it approved as a building lot? Is that what you're saying?
Well, explain it to me again. You can approve it as a lot, just not a building lot.
Well, I don't even know if we can approve it as a lot.
Well, I think it'd be a lot, and they would have to come back in, and if like, for example, it would be an ag res lot.
The state has what's called deferred lots,
Right.
or used to have deferred lots. And they would consider that as a deferred lot because you're not doing any perk or septic on it.
Yeah.
We don't really have that in our ordinance.
So basically what it would be is it would be a standalone lot that you could do in the ag res. So anything that's an allowed use in the ag res would be allowed there, provided that they meet the basic standards. So what they would then do if they wanted to build this, if they don't have a septic or anything on here right now, they would still have to come to me with a wastewater permit and a septic before they could build that anyways. It would
Right.
just give them the ability to sell that and develop a bit according to whatever the regulations.
I like that approach better just because it leaves it open to Greg or Eden Sand and Gravel, what they
Right.
want to do with it. I'm just more concerned with what I want to do with
But
lot.
we
2.
would pretty much make it clear in any permit that we give that lot is not a
Not a buildable
buildable lot
Right.
And then
until,
we could still do
until
it.
you jump through other.
Until you get a state
Still do
WW
a
permit. Sure.
subdivision without.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that would kind of be without saying is because they would just be divided. And unless they meet the requirements for development, like they have to submit a driveway to me, they'd have to get an access permit for an access for it. So it would just sit there. It has frontage, that's the only thing. You can't have a landlocked lot, but it's off a Kenyon Road.
I think it meets all the requirements for
Space wise.
size, space,
Over an acre.
driveway over an acre. You can draw the circle of 50 feet around. So I think, other than not doing maybe water and sewer at this point, it meets all the other requirements,
It will.
I believe.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna be,
But it doesn't need a curb cut to be a subdivided lot.
that's a good
I
question.
don't think it does. I think it just needs to have that frontage, I think, as long as it has frontage, because they can come to me and get it approved.
And that's a lot easier. If you
on
guys
its
just
own.
wanted a curb cut for it, that's a lot easier than going through the whole state WW process. So,
Yeah, I don't
simple
know-
town
I don't
curb
know-
cut.
You could put it on there, because they'd have to still go to the town to get it approved.
Right.
If it's on there or
We
not.
don't need it. We don't need to put it on there. I just want to make
Right.
sure that we're not.
If you needed it, it'd be,
Approving
that's-
a lot that isn't.
That can't be used.
And there's also gonna be some, obviously, other restrictions on there. Looks like, I don't know what the right of way is for that pop transmission line, but that's gonna play.
it's
a
the
factor.
outer red line. I think it's 50 feet,
Yeah, it's
25
50, so
center.
25.
Yeah,
on
so
the
it's
side.
still, I put a couple rectangles on there for, a kind of a generic house drive, garage something, and you can get it in there. It's actually pretty similar to, one of the new lots on
Mhm.
Turnstone, which is kind of in the same boat where it's in between Kenyon and the VEC corridor, and you can get it in there.
I mean, if you
Fairly
guys wanted
comfortably.
to see that, you could probably make that a condition, because again, when they come in for preliminary, suggest that they put it on there for preliminary.
What's your plan for any outdoor lighting?
I was just gonna have probably 2 kind of barn style lights over each bay, and then a wall, what is a wall sconce next to the door,
Right.
and then probably an exterior wall sconce next to the back door. I wasn't gonna have a sign lighting. I don't need any of that stuff.
Okay,
He would have to though, because we do have to, because it's that subdivision stuff, they are, in his conditional use, they are supposed to provide the ISO lighting diagram for any external lighting. What you guys could do,
Can waive that, yeah.
if you were okay with, what he was kind of proposing, you could kind of farm that off to me and let me take care of it, or if you guys want him to come back,
So
to
he
show
has
it
to
to
do
you.
more than just say to us it's downdraft lighting.
Yeah, you'd have to show you, like, technically he's supposed to show you ISO lighting diagrams for everything,
Right.
cut sheets, all that fun stuff. But again, if you felt okay with the idea that it's, it's gonna be potentially 2 lights, he's not lighting up a whole parking lot or something like that, and you feel comfortable with me doing it, you could probably condition that you have to provide all the information and,
Well, this is sketch plan anyway, so you have a couple
it-
hearings to make a decision.
There's
on
a
that.
sketch plan for
It's
the,
not sketch plan for that, so he does have to approve it for the use. So where this was a little tricky, and we were gonna talk a little bit about it, so. Their use is, what they suggested was the use is gonna be contingent on the subdivision ultimately being approved, because
Right.
otherwise, if you approve the use as is. Right now, you'd approve it for the lot as it sits for
Which is
all of
the
lot
whole
1,
lot,
right? So what we talked about doing, and it was hard for me because I can't do it for lot 2, because lot 2 doesn't technically exist. So it was kind of this weird,
Which came first, the chicken or the
yeah,
egg
so it was
kind
kind of
of
weird.
thing,
So we figured that we could condition it on
The
approval
condition
in the
of the
final.
building, the conditional use on the
Final
lot being
approval.
subdivided.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
correct.
so, but isn't the subdivision a sketch plan?
Well, that's the point. They'd have to finish the rest of the process before
Right,
it
but-
would be approved.
What this is a sketch.
Just
plan.
a sketch plan of the subdivision, and if the subdivision gets approved, they want conditional use approval for lot 2 as shown on this.
So the parking requirement and the lighting requirement would all have to do with the approval of the building. On
That's correct.
Lot 2.
Conditional use, yes, sir.
So we can approve the sketch plan and then, we approve the sketch, we don't really have to approve a sketch plan. You're gonna submit to us a preliminary on the subdivision,
Mhm.
preliminary subdivision. And what you're exploring here then is our warm feeling on approving the improvement on lot 2
As a professional office.
as a professional office.
Right.
I get it.
I wouldn't go any further with
I understand.
preliminary
If
unless
we
there's a
weren't gonna-
conditional use approval for,
Just that you're feeling the
course.
pulse.
right,
here.
yeah, of course,
Yeah.
exactly.
All right, I
Okay.
understand.
It took us a minute to try and figure out
Oh,
the
No,
vehicle.
it makes sense.
I get it. Okay, I'm done.
David, any questions?
Nope.
Okay. Anything else from the applicant? Nope. Anybody in the public have any input? Wish to, yes, ma'am.
Yes, I have a neighbor.
What's your name, please?
Kathleen Templin. And I want to know then what is what would lot 1, is it also then industrial commercial on this? I mean, I know
The sand pit lot.
this, no, that's lot 3.
Oh, that's lot 3. Okay.
1 is up very close to the solar bridge.
I believe lot 1 is the sand pit.
Lot 1 is the sand pit.
Lot
Yeah.
3 is.
Three is the,
Okay.
but you're asking what zone lot 3 is in?
Yeah. What would lot 3 be for, and can lot 2 then be used in the future for residential in addition to the?
You'd have to come back to us
Okay.
to have that approval. We're approved, if we approve it, we'd approve it from what he's requesting right now as simply a professional office. And we would not be approving its use as a residential structure.
And that would be on lot 2 and not on lot 3.
Yeah, on lot 2.
Oh, yeah.
He's not applying for any use whatsoever on lot 3.
And just little added clarification on that. So because it's in the AR, the residential component wouldn't come,
What does AR mean?
agricultural residential, sorry, it's an abbreviation. They would come to me for any residential component, and that's when I would look at and say whether or not this would meet any standards. If he has that professional office on there with the home, there is caveats for home occupation and cottage industries, which can allow two uses to occur on the same property, which normally can't happen in the ag-res district with some limited circumstances, but that's something that I would evaluate at that point. And then we would make the call if they had to come back to the DRB or to amend the conditional use to allow for the home, he would do that at that time, or if he didn't need to do that, it would just be handled
Only
through
in the
me through a
professional
zoning
office.
permit, but he would have to post it. 15-day appeal period, all that sort of stuff would apply.
I guess my
Well, yeah,
comment is 9 cars there, so I didn't know why. Travel Kenyon Road, it's dangerous in all regards, and I don't know how
You're concerned about the traffic.
I mean, I understand this is not a square peg in a round home.
I'm concerned about lot 3 being a commercial business. And I don't know how much space really there is. Lines, I was always told when I bought my lot there, like I break, and then never be built on because of the access is really electrical lines. My lot is on lot 2, and now lot 3.
Right,
Lot
yeah.
1. At one of
And David, just so you know, there wasn't something in the chat here, so I pulled up a comment here from, looks like Trish. Echoing kind of similar concerns about traffic. Onto, from potential traffic from lot 2.
So
Just to clarify.
because this is a sketch plan, when he comes in for his preliminary, he can bring to us information about traffic as is required by the
Sure.
ordinance.
And
At
just for
this
clarity, the
stage-
the professional office has 1 employee,
Yeah,
for
well,
what that's worth.
and she's also asking about the subdivision itself. But the subdivision really isn't in front of us. It's still strictly a sketch plan.
Sure.
So at some point, if you choose to bring to us a preliminary application, then you'd have to discuss traffic.
Sure.
So I don't know, Trish, if that satisfies what you're asking. That's the answer.
Did you get your question answered?
I was just
Because
about to ask that.
I'm not sure, I didn't hear the whole thing. Are you?
Well, I didn't get answered what lot 3, that will be also commercial. Or what's-
No,
No.
There's no proposal for any use whatsoever at this point. So at the time that they would want or choose to come before us and ask for a use, you would have then a chance for input.
David, if they did get it approved, they would have whatever use is allowed in the ag res. So you wouldn't have to assign it a use. It's a lot, and then we would look at. It would then be contingent. He would come back to you, let's say if they wanted to put another professional office up there. Because that requires conditional use approval, would come to you, but if they wanted to put a home, it would just come to me. Because it's a lot in the ag res.
I don't think I agree with you because we're not seeing
We don't
the
see it.
wastewater permit,
Right.
the driveway set up, or anything else. So I think, in my mind, if they want to come before, if he moves forward
Mm.
with what he is moving forward with, and then decides to change to actually assign a use to lot 1, I believe he'd have to come before this board.
Right now, we only have a sketch plan in front of us,
Right.
really.
So there's
Um,
nothing in
We
front of
really-
us, really.
We can't approve the use, the building without an approval on the subdivision.
Well, because what I'm thinking of is like, if I had this, let's assume for the sake of argument, this existed already. And somebody who said, hey, I want to develop lot 3, right? And I don't have any, there's no, they didn't, there's no, it's just a blank lot on a subdivision. I would say, okay, what are you trying to do? Like, okay, then you gotta come in, you gotta show me driveway, you gotta show me all this and everything else.
But at this point in time, what we have, in my view, is a sketch plan.
Yep.
That looks logical to me based on the information that we have.
Mhm.
We don't have to approve a sketch plan, we just have to say to the applicant, yeah, it looks okay, bring us some details. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right,
And one of the things we've come up with is uses and septic and that kind of thing for to to actually make it a subdivided lot.
Yeah.
Now, I am a little concerned about lot 1. In the past, we have not allowed subdivision that I can remember where the lot has no use to it and we don't see a septic permit or anything else. And one of the reasons this board took that tact is it was too easy for someone to show a subdivided lot on a survey. Someone doesn't read our decision and all of a sudden there's a house there.
And you could circumvent all that just by connecting those two lots. And then you wouldn't have a separate lot. Even though it would be a small connection.
Right.
You wouldn't create a separate lot.
Right.
David,
Just-
what's your thoughts?
What's my thought about what, I think I mean, I was actually thought this was pretty resolved and we were okay to approve it as a site plan. I'm not sure I understand, I'm not sure I heard the question.
Well, the question is, so this is a sketch plan, so it just
Yeah.
allows us input. How do you feel about the applicant coming before us, asking for a 3-lot subdivision? And with one of the lots, no use whatsoever requested?
Well, I mean, do we want to, we've had this sort of conversation a number of times. Do we need to, or are we going to insist on a statement of intended use? Is that something that, I mean, that's what we did last week, but I don't think it's appropriate here. I don't know that it's not. It's a sketch plan review. It's not a subdivision. Yeah. So I think it's.
Correct, but a sketch plan asks us to give input to the applicant as to how we feel about what he's proposing.
But would he has to come back to get the actual subdivision.
Yes,
So I mean, I think the applicant should be forewarned that we are going to require a statement of use at the subdivision. But I don't know that we need to make that a condition of the site plan approval.
well, there's no site plan approval in
I mean,
front of us.
I'm sorry, the sketch.
Conditional use.
Under
We're
conditional
not-
use.
We're not approving a sketch plan.
I thought we were doing both. I'm sorry.
The way I understood it is you guys could approve the conditional use, and if you approve the conditional use on the condition the site plan gets approved, it's all good. If you're not gonna approve the conditional use, there's no point in me
Right,
spending a lot of money to go
any
to
conditional
preliminary.
use we approve would be contingent on you getting a subdivision.
Correct. Right, but if it's, if the
And
condition, I don't
I'm okay
get, I
with
don't
that.
get the final and then
I don't-
conditional use gets nixed, then I said, well,
Right.
why did I just go
Okay.
through?
And I don't have
6
a
months
problem
or
with
a
that.
year of-
My question has to go to lot one. Can we approve a lot that, in other words, in my mind, you shouldn't subdivide lot one from lot 3 until you have a use for lot one.
Isn't lot one the sand and gravel?
I'm sorry,
one's
lot
sand,
3, yeah.
So
I'm
but
gonna
is it-
get.
I was looking at this before. I thought that lot 3 is really just a creation by virtue of the fact that lot 2 bisects it from lot 1.
Correct.
It doesn't happen. And you're right, David.
So that's why I'm sort of not as concerned with it. It doesn't seem like a traditional subdivision. It seems like it's just sort of the remainder because lot 2 is shaped. Are you suggesting, Roger, that lot 2 should be adjusted so that lot 1 and lot 3 remain the same lot?
I'm not suggesting anything. I'm wondering what the board feels about what is being proposed.
I mean, from my perspective, if you guys have a major issue with lot 3 being this kind of just blank lot, I would just move lot 2's boundary slightly south and create this
Right.
weird little bottleneck, so it doesn't bother me at all, and it's not gonna bother Eden Sand and Gravel at all. If you guys are okay with it being a almost 2-acre AR zone lot, that's fine too, I guess. I can move a lot line 10 feet, if it's gonna cause angst.
I think the issue is that generally when you're creating the third lot, we would want to understand what the intended use of the third lot is, but it seems to me like this was really just a remainder of lot.
Right, and preliminary, if you guys want it one way there for the preliminary, if the conditional use gets approved for preliminary, I would go to Eden Sand and Gravel and put on a generic house or, or leave it blank if you guys want it that way. I'm not concerned.
I don't care what you do with it as long as if you're gonna build a house on it, you come to us with a
Right.
septic plan
Sure,
Yeah.
and a driveway layout and so forth.
that makes sense.
Yes, sir.
Sir, I would have you just come up a little bit just so we can pick you up on the mic.
My name is Rich Roberge and I own the lot that's adjacent to, this is lot 3, right? What we're talking about. And maybe I can add a little clarity to it. When we first got in there and that Sylvan development, that lot was not supposed to be built on. You know, there was never any mention of that with Greg, that lot would ever be developed, because we're right next to that lot. The line goes right near our well on that lot. So I'm in the process now of trying to talk to Greg. He's a hard man to get a hold of sometimes, but and try to work something out with him for that, you know, for that piece of property or whatever, but I have no problems with what he's doing on lot 2. It's that lot that's in front, and then plus it's all the traffic and where we all turn into Sylvan Ridge. There's a lot of concerns right there, that driveway would be right there, and we would be adamantly against any kind of lot going on that lot 3.
So you're talking about the lot that is.
Well, what he did is Tyler wanted a lot. And you know, he had that long strip that comes down to his big sand pit. That abuts our thing, and Tyler didn't want basically, right, to build on that lot because this power line goes through there twice. It goes through and it turns again, and it's all power line under there. Basically is what it is. And so he wanted to go one step further. So they went over one step further and they put it as lot 2. So now that's isolated now. So that lot is stuck there by itself. And Greg doesn't want to just leave it. He's got to do something with it or whatever, right? I mean, and then his other lot is further down into the sand pit or whatever he's going to do in the future down there. So that's sort of how that one lot got there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, in my mind, I have no problem with, you know, your conditional use.
I don't either.
Personally, and I don't think any of us do. And we'll wait to see what you come before us with a preliminary, having heard everything that you've heard.
Fair enough.
So, I'd entertain a motion that we allow a conditional use for a professional office contingent on the subdivision of the lot.
Thank you.
Do we need to address parking now?
You would have to, you could do that, I think in deliberate, I could come up with the conditions. You could waive it if you wanted to waive that parking requirement from the 9 to the 6. You could also would have to consider the lighting, whether or not you or, you know, want me to.
I'd like it, at least a statement of the lighting and, that's all.
Do you want them just to provide that to me for when they would, for approval for the zoning permit? Okay. So what I had that language right there. It says, prior the lighting information for section 4.10.3.
Reduce it from 9 to 6.
And does the board feel comfortable reducing parking from 9 to 6?
Yes,
I do, and I also think it's consistent with neighbors' concerns about, you know, traffic. So I think we can waive it. I think we need to require the ADA space for the posting of the ADA space, just because it's our rule.
Yeah, he would have to designate one of those ADA.
Right,
Of course. Yeah.
okay.
And I
All in
think that's what we should do.
Aye.
Aye.
So was that Roger? Was that your motion?
Dave's motion. I'm making my motion. I don't think.
Yeah, it's Roger's motion.
Yeah, got it.
All set?
1 second.
So we
Got it.
won't issue you a decision on the sketch plan,
Of
but
course.
we will issue you a decision on the conditional use.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
We'll be in touch and stuff like that. When we go to like you want to go full zoning permit. Work and everything. That's awesome. Thank you.
Okay. Next on our agenda is Richmond Village Housing Partnership. Application CU 2023-05. The applicants, Richmond Housing Partnership, are seeking conditional use approval to correct issues with unpermitted work in the special flood hazard overlay district and seeking to repair unpermitted work and restore the approved previously permitted drainage system. So why don't you folks introduce yourself?
Derek Reed, I'm with Krebs and Lansing Consulting Engineers. Stepped in to try to resolve the repair to bring the site back into compliance.
And,
And I'm Chip Patello with Champlain Housing Trust.
okay, you both are gonna give testimony? Swear you in, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes,
I do.
Why don't you tell us what you have in mind here?
Okay, so as noted, the project was trying to resolve a drainage problem in the driveway. At the corner of the driveway, it's a pretty flat site. And the repair veered off the property.
So I notice.
Yeah. So to bring it back to
You
Part
want
of
to
the-
pull anything up? on
yeah, if you don't mind, the C1 would be great.
Your site plan? Nope, that's not it. Hang on. Let's get
Not that
That was.
Item 3.
down here, down.
item 3, yep.
You want C1 or S1?
Yeah, rating and that one, right? That worked.
Okay.
A
little bit.
That's not.
The other one wasn't.
Close up.
Yeah.
That's what.
All right. So the project was originally permitted as the Richmond Village Housing Project, and it had drainage design that basically for this watershed that was trying to be captured at the bottom, at the corner of the driveway. The water was intended to go around a berm. There was I'll call it a pyramid type of berm in the corner just to the right of building 1. Basically go around and discharge off-site near the tree that's at the corner of the lot. To resolve it, we were proposing to improve the drainage pattern by putting in a new bioretention practice. So that will help to reduce the volume of runoff from the site. We're not adding impervious, but by doing this, it will help to reduce the amount of water coming off the site and get the water out of the driveway, which is our original goal of the drainage project to begin with. We're also proposing a cedar trees to be planted just off the property line. Water will flow through the gap
So
between the trees.
let me ask you. Do you have the neighbor's permission and easement to do this?
Here.
Oh, okay.
An easement for what, the stormwater runoff? I
No, the
believe
trees, they're planting trees on your property.
That's to be coordinated because there were trees cut down on our property right. So it's part of the Church Street Homeowners Association property there. We've got two homes that are backing onto it. I mean, there was earthworks, trees cut down, soil stripped out through that property line. I mean, what's shaded in gray is a sketch or take on it, but I mean, it's more substantial looking than that if you're out there on the site. But I mean, an easement is one thing for the replanting if that is agreed, but I don't believe there's any kind of easement for stormwater runoff on our property. And what we witnessed today and yesterday with the rainfall is substantial flooding at the back of the properties already.
Okay, let me hold you up for a second, because what you're saying is really stuff to come in when the public. So hold that statement, please. Why don't you finish? I was just curious about
So to sort
what
of
you were planning.
build on that conversation. Part of the drainage project created a drainage swale that hooked the water around the corner. The original swale from the permit plans came down this edge and discharged right here. There's now a berm in this area that pushes the water by that spot and discharges. We've done a topographic survey to see that discharges off here. We're proposing to eliminate the berm, add a bioretention soil, and still keep where the original Richmond housing project runoff was designed and permitted in the day. We're just adding a bioretention practice to reduce the
What does
volume.
that mean, bioretention?
It's a sandy mix of soil with compost. 2 feet deep. It's a stormwater treatment practice that's approved by the state. So what it does is basically,
It's like a sponge.
yeah, kind of a sponge, and we have plantings in it to help with the uptake as well. So this shaded area here is the limits of the bioretention practice that's designed. And so the water will flow just to the left of the large tree that's in the corner of the lot. That's
So who would maintain that?
the drainage is on the Richmond Village Housing Project property, so that would be their responsibility to maintain that.
When you say their responsibility,
Champlain Housing Trust.
okay, so they're gonna own it
They own the
We do
property.
own
and they continue to own the property.
Correct.
You're gonna basically undo what you did.
We're going to undo what we did with an improvement to the drainage flow pattern. We're also, which I didn't highlight, this berm, this is a 320 contour, and the contour is about 311 and a half, 312. We're proposing to eliminate 8 feet. It's really built that way today. There's a swing set on it, but that's the permitted plan. So we're also asking for that berm to be permitted as gone, even though it's not there today. That's another.
So that verb was never put in.
That was not.
Yeah, it was really weird because when I was doing some research on it, initially when I received the complaint, I had to do some research. This is what I was able to find, the most recent version. There's a couple different iterations. One of these didn't show a berm, but the one that was actually approved, the site plan that was on the record as being approved, had this kind of weird 8-foot tall pyramid section of dirt on that property. However, I think when push came to shove, when it was actually built, that berm just never existed. So this is more kind of reflecting what, this isn't new excavation. This is basically reflecting what's already the site condition as it exists, basically.
And are you saying this will cure runoff onto neighbor's property as well as control the
What
stormwater?
it's doing is it's bringing it back to where the water's supposed to, was originally permitted to drain here. Right now, it's coming here and heading.
And when it drains off the property, where's it go?
into the backyards of the southerly.
The Church Street Homeowners Association. Into their backyard.
Okay,
So you get to speak at some point.
we'll get to you all in a second. Anything else?
No, I think the vegetative plantings that we showed were based on some conversations, and certainly there's a willingness to continue that conversation.
So let me go back to my original question. The plan you're showing there, which we have here, shows the trees not on your property that you're planning to build.
Correct. So the shaded area. Our survey crew went out after the incident and took shots of where the grass was clearly cleared, and that's what that shows. So that's a lot of it was off property.
So, but in order for us to, in my mind, in order for us to approve this, we'd have to see a written easement allowing you to do something that benefits you on someone else's property.
To do the actual planting.
Yeah.
And maintain, yeah.
David, what I think we could do, because again, I'm just trying to think of the vehicle for this, is I think what you could do is require that the plantings be planted on Champlain housing, because it's really their application. It's not
Of course. I
the
mean,
Church Street's
That's the
housing.
alternate. If they can't get an easement.
Yeah, is they'd have to plant it all
They'd have to put it
along
on their property.
their southern property line, and you could make that a condition, and that would kind of take away that whole. And again, because what we don't want to do is insert us in the way of requiring work on other people's
Well, we can't.
property. Exactly. So that's what I'm saying is I don't think we
I
could.
mean, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, so I think any additional screenings or plantings would have to be probably, I think, a private agreement between
mean,
Champlain Housing.
Can you
Trust.
put those trees on your property?
We could. It was just, it was one of the requests that they had,
Who's they?
their housing association,
Okay.
that we put some kind of plantings in between.
But they wanted it in between on your property or in between on their property?
I'm not sure. They didn't respond.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll probably hear in a second. Okay,
So you guys could do that, and again, any other additional plantings would just be worked out between the parties.
So just to make it clear, Tyler, the applicants are asking us to approve this alternate drainage system
That's correct.
that they proposed in this plan. Is that
Yes.
correct? And they need our approval to do this because it's a deviation from.
Yeah, so this is where this kind of gets, this is where this really gets particularly complicated. So this whole development, for lack of a better, is inside of the special flood hazard overlay district.
Right.
Right, so there's a couple but issues ongoing. First off, any excavation in the water and sewer district for any zoning permit requires a conditional use, it requires a zoning permit anyways, which they didn't get. B, because it's in the water and sewer district. B, because it's in the special flood hazard overlay district. It requires, excavation requires conditional use approval by the development review board. So you didn't get conditional use approval. In addition, this is changing the site plan. From, this is basically, this would have been a previously approved site plan. The only way to do that, to modify it, is to come back to the development review board and modify the site plan. So there's a host of reasons why they would need to have come back to do this. And basically what you're trying to do is to kind of, this is what was previously approved on the plan set downstairs. I do have it. In the original form, and these little weird little triangle things here, these are like straw bales. This kind of reflects where the original drainage was. So what they're proposing is to basically come back and kind of reroute the water back to its original, where it was originally supposed to go when it was, the original site plan was approved back in 1998. Yeah, this thing was if you were to try and build this today, you couldn't, because it's all in the special flood hazard overlay district.
Which I don't think existed when they.
It did, but it showed it much lower. So now all of this is basic, for a good chunk of it's in it. So basically all the houses here, where all of the work occurred, is definitely in this flood hazard overlay district.
All right, so the purpose of this is to correct a condition that currently exists. And to correct it by deviating from the original plan, which doesn't appear to be workable. Is that
Well,
correct?
basically, no, what it is this work, if they wanted to do this work, it would have required it to be permitted through conditional use approval. They could do this work, again, but the issue is that they didn't have to, they were supposed to have come before you guys first to do the work, and what happened was work occurred without any permits. I found out about it,
Okay,
basically the Thursday before we had the, our last DRB meeting.
I thought this was rest.
Oh, it's done. Like, that was kind of the issues. By the time I could get on site, the work had already been done, for lack of a better word.
When you say the work has been done, what work is?
The original, this is all dug out right now, like this whole new drainage swale, this is all there. This isn't proposed, this is existing, so they're proposing to get rid of this.
Was it all done, on Champlain Housing's
No.
property?
No, and that's what this shows. It was done on multiple people's property. So and by the time I got there, which was, unfortunately, the work occurred on the one day I don't work in the office. So by the time I came in, the work was done and piled up, and that's why I met with Colin and other people, and that's where I reached out to the housing trust to kind of basically say, we need to get this, get this permitted.
All right, so you're proposing an alternate here. What if it doesn't work? Then what do the Church Street people, what is their remedy?
I don't understand that doesn't work. It's I have survey shots to know that the grade will discharge.
Okay, so there's no question that it will function the way.
Yeah, I have the survey shots here, to know that that will work.
Okay.
I also know that that spot grade right now is too high, it's bumped up,
All right, so,
and so, yeah.
And there is stormwater data
okay.
and stuff
that's
that they
fine.
did provide.
And where does the water go when it goes off the property?
Yeah, sorry, it's okay to make a point. I mean, what the plan doesn't show is the neighboring properties. I mean, our home is right at the back there. And what it like, so there's Marita sitting next to me, her home.
Okay, let me stop you for a second.
Right?
What,
Swear 'em in and have
Yeah.
show us on there.
what's your name?
Colin Karin,
Okay.
Yeah.
Colin, why don't you show us what,
yeah, I'm here.
yeah,
Yes.
please.
You need to actually swear him.
And swear 'em in.
Okay, do you swear or affirm to help? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
So my property is here, I guess you would kind of say the houses are on here, we have a back deck. It comes pretty close out to the vegetation at the back.
Might be able to pull something up.
Home is here, which is part of the church. So that's the last two homes.
And you're all part of the church.
Hang
street?
on, I'm gonna try and pull something up on A&R so you can actually see it.
Now's the trick.
You get to see a little bit of zoning 101. This is my.
Bread and butter. Oh, I agree.
That's really helpful, because
Okay, so
That'll probably help you out a little bit
Yeah,
better.
so that, the area there, this is, I guess, where the swale's been dug out, and it's been dug all the way down to about this point, and here are the two homes. The tree in the corner being here, so the discharge point being directly in
And
our backyard.
what road is that on the bottom there?
This is.
That's Church Street?
Okay.
Okay, okay,
And then you got railroads up here.
right.
Yeah, I got it. So where is this water gonna go?
That's exactly it. Right. That's the tree, and this is where we're discharging, right?
But what happens when it discharges? It just,
It comes down,
yeah, down. How can you discharge onto someone else's property?
well, I'm basically. It was approved that way, that's what it did before, so I'm just. Bringing it back to where.
I understand that.
Yeah, I don't, we're trying to infiltrate what we can, but it's a.
Do you need a stormwater permit for this?
No, we're not adding impervious, it's a. Earthwork activity, but. Rather than just make a ditch, we were proposing to improve, to do the bioretention practice to slow the flows. And to take,
So is
Water.
it in your
Is there a me-
opinion, you're a PE, right? Okay, is it in your opinion as a PE that the bioretention berm will take up all the water, or will water still?
oh, no, water will
off?
still flow off, I'm not
Water
gonna
water
pretend,
will still flow
oh,
off.
absolutely, I'm not gonna pretend that it won't.
Is
It
there a
will-
mechanical solution? Is there a mechanical solution that can be done in addition to improving the burn?
A mechanical system?
What do you mean, David?
Like some sort of, I mean, I'm absolutely out of my element here, but I mean, if you're discharging onto the neighbors, like there's got to be some sort of mechanical drainage system that can be installed that's gonna.
Pipe in the ground.
You mean the culvert?
I think he means like a
does, yeah.
stormwater, like.
Stormwater
retention
drain.
system that you put in, like crushed gravel, like.
And a pump?
I would never recommend to anybody to pump stormwater. It will never,
You'll never get to the end of it.
There's not a pump solution for this.
yeah,
Not big.
Okay.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So when before all this started, did water drain into your yard?
I mean, there would be very little there. I mean, I think Karin, my neighbor, would be better answered. She lived there much longer. But even her comment of what she seen this evening was, that's the worst I've ever seen of water coming through.
Well, could we swear you in and have you tell us if there was any water?
I'm not Kara, but
Oh, I'm sorry, he was pointing at you,
But
of the Church, the Owners Association.
okay?
And you could, I also took photos tonight after the storm to show you the water, the river of
All
water.
right, so I
So,
don't care
so
who,
that river of water is created because of the work they just did, right?
That they did in May.
Right. So let me ask you this, before that work was done, did you have that kind of drainage?
no,
I'm sorry.
Brady, Taxman, Roof.
So are you saying to this board then that the bioretention berm will be able to again, keep the water similar to the way it was prior to the ditching that you did?
Well, that's what my understanding would be. I didn't see it before, so I'm going by what the plan design was, and that water was intended to go there. I came in to the project and I tried to basically bring it back to what I understood to be the existing conditions, only better by putting in a bioretention practice rather than a straight
And you're
ditch.
also, part of what you're gonna do is fill that ditch back up.
Well, yeah, it's eliminating the hard corner is what the main, basically, our survey shots show that it comes around here and right around here. It shows it daylighting. Is that what you're seeing
yeah,
right now?
between the two properties. what the
Yes,
similar to the
that's
other.
what our survey shots showed too. It was coming off of
Yeah.
here fast through here, and then from what we could tell on the survey shots, it was somewhere in that. I don't have the,
Yeah, so
plan,
it's
but-
between the two properties and then all the way along the back of the second property there.
and then it keeps coming.
Well, it doesn't keep going anyway.
It
That's-
does.
No, it stops there.
Chair recommend.
Because it was, again, sorry, it was excavated, so it's much lower than, I don't know, whatever it was, but all of the back of the second property is just ponding, and it's not, I walked out there, it's flowing hard down there, and there's a swale at the front of our house that takes the entire street drainage, and both today and yesterday, there was no flow at all in it, but at the back, there is, I mean, an extensive flow of water coming down there, and again, it's just pulling the back of the two houses, and it's not moving. And this is, I mean, it's 100%, and I would say the water's coming off the road, but the road drainage is not being resolved. The water is still massively ponding on the road and now going through the stone ditch down into the newly formed swale.
So like you're talking about right up
Yeah.
here.
In my opinion, I mean, it would make more sense to either curb the corner of that road and put an inlet there and bring the pipe down Borden Street to the next.
Well,
next
I'm
inlet.
a little confused. So before they did the ditching.
Yeah.
You weren't having a problem?
No,
So from your standpoint, you just like to see it go back to the way it was.
Fix the problem.
well, that's, yeah,
I mean, you have a problem now that you didn't have before, correct?
Yeah.
Do we have the right to have the town engineer look into this?
Yes, you do. So we do have that stormwater infrastructure on there. What you would probably have to do at that point would be to continue the application. And to such time that unless if you wanted to review it in the meeting and have people provide more
No, I'd like,
testimony,
this is above,
your pay grade.
yes,
No, I understand.
I
Very
didn't
much.
learn law school, so I'd like our town engineer to get involved.
Would you like him to just provide the report or would you want him to come in here?
I'd
and
like him to
provide
look
testimony?
at
Yeah.
their work
Yeah,
and possibly talk to the neighbors about the way it was.
Yeah.
Because I don't want, as a board, to approve something
right.
that isn't gonna correct their problem.
Absolutely. No,
And their problem didn't exist a month ago.
Yeah, so you absolutely can require applicants to have technical review done by the town engineer. Basically, how that would work is Champlain Housing Trust would have to provide us with a $500 technical review fee, at which point we would contract, I'd reach out to Tyler, the other Tyler who was here tonight, who's the town engineer.
He's the town head,
Tyler Billingsley is, yep,
our past,
the guy who was
past
here.
applicants,
Yes,
okay.
he was. So basically what he would then do is he would then take the stormwater plan, basically. Work with Derek and stuff to get any additional information that he needs. And then he would provide feedback that this will comply with town standards and kind of give you an idea of what this would do. I mean, because technically you guys do have the authority at this point. If this isn't going to work, you don't, because here's where this gets complicated too. Just because it was approved in the past,
Doesn't.
they can't, whatever was the grandfathering goes out because you've changed it.
Right,
So it has to comply with whatever the standards are today. And
okay,
if restoring it doesn't meet the standards of today,
then we should go forward.
then it
Ma'am,
has
you
to
had
comply
something
with
to say?
public
Yeah,
respect.
the other property in
Would
the
you
corner.
tell us your name, please?
Oh, sorry, Marita McKay.
And you live in this area?
I'm right on the corner of that property from Columns, right next to Column, right
Okay.
behind the warehouse from the hardware store.
Okay,
So is there a house
Right
on
there.
that property?
Yeah, it's down,
It's up
it's down.
down the
over
other
there.
side.
Sorry, this is a little cluttered, but
All right, go ahead.
and what's your understanding?
I just don't want him to do something where he's gonna back in, not only take care of these guys, but
But-
have it affect me as
Right.
well.
So let me ask you a
Sure.
question. For the work that they just did, were you having any issues?
There was water that I'd never seen before. Yes,
No. Before
yes.
they did the
before.
work,
Before they did the work, yeah,
there was still water?
yes,
Okay,
yes. There was a bit just below that, where that line is, that red line, just below that. And I have never seen that before. I don't think there's enough drainage off Railroad Street, or it's so intense coming from the Four Corners down to Bridge Street. And it bypasses those drainage and head right down Railroad Street. And that affects not only the housing project, but us as well.
you're talking about it coming down here, right?
Correct. And pooling. Yes,
Well, you can see there, it looks like there's water right there in this
Yes.
diagram.
there's a puddle there tonight.
I'll bet. We had some good rain.
Did you mention a culvert going down there?
No, well, that would be my suggestion would be to put an inlet at the corner to.
I can show you like right
Corner of-
here.
Of the
Well,
hardware.
there is
store.
no, there's an inlet at the very end of Gordon Street.
If you want me to go back, I'm sorry.
Show me.
Up here, or would you want to go up or down, Roger?
I mean, well, there's an inlet here on Gordon Street. That's about the only inlet I know of for any of these roads. I mean, I'm a civil engineer myself, and my opinion of walking the roads is that.
Yeah, I know.
There's a lack of inlet or maybe
Sure.
some standards, stormwater drainage around here, and I think that's what Marita is experiencing is, I guess, the development back towards the hardware store. Those stormwater ponds, I think they're feeling, and that's where all the water is coming into our property.
You talk about these, Cole?
Yeah, so they're overflowing into. our
Oh,
property.
that's a major issue right there. Whoever approved that and did not follow up to let us know. There's a drainage right in behind Dan's hardware store, and when the rain comes down. That culvert starts going like crazy, and those retention ponds cannot handle it. And it backs up into our property like big time. You could open up a pool there, seriously, and have everybody in the neighborhood come and swim. That's right.
But that's really not.
We had the kids swing set there. And it rotted because all that water was coming in.
Have you talked to Dan about that?
Dan, oh,
Yeah.
he's not gonna listen. Oh, there's no way. I'm sorry, but he's not gonna listen. He doesn't care. If he cared, he would have talked to us about it, but he didn't care.
Okay. I'd like to, I'm sorry, is there anybody else in the public that would like to say
Well,
something?
there was one statement that we had as an association that we had intended to post, but I don't think it got posted, so I don't know if we can either send that to you and that can.
Yeah,
get
why
posted.
don't, well,
So,
we're not gonna finish this tonight.
Yeah,
So why don't
okay.
you submit that to Tyler?
and I'll make sure it would be posted for the next continuation. I remember I got a lot of emails on this. I got 6 different
Yeah.
things on the agenda, and so kind of the hard deadline for submissions was the Friday before, just to kind of put some.
Yeah.
Some order on that. I still got stuff after that, but at a certain point, these guys, I try and give these guys at least. At least a week or close to it to be able to review the material, so that way we can have an informed conversation about it.
Yeah, why don't you submit your statement? Is there anybody else from the public that would like to say something?
No,
Yes, ma'am.
do I need to be sworn in?
Are you gonna give testimony?
I just want to say about this work. So a month ago, May 4th, they literally took out truckloads of dirt on this Church Street Association properties and many, many trees and brush and bushes that went all along that border. And so our primary goal is, yes, we want to be collaboratively working to resolve the problem, to fill back in the dirt that was removed in a way so that it won't create essentially what that gray path is, looks exactly like a little river. And that is what it looks like tonight. And if you need, I can share photos that I've taken of what the water flowing. The water is still cooling up there where you see the little rocks at the corner of Borden Street right here.
Yep.
Tonight, there's still a huge puddle there. It's not resolving the drainage issue from Borden, but there is now drainage that is flowing just like a little river, just like that gray path, down to the corner of Column and Army's property and around and along. And it drains out, if you were to look back at the Google Earth image, it right here. So basically where that red line is, but on our side of it, those trees, many were removed, and it drains all the way out past to there, to this field. Sorry, no, not that.
Jericho Settlers Farm.
So that they dug out, they removed foliage and trees all the way to here,
On Church Street property.
correct? And the water drains and pools here. And they removed right up to Kara's compost bin, right up to these row of cedar trees. There was one cottonwood tree. They removed all the way around the cottonwood and right up to Kara's shed right here. And everything along here, they left a few little trees close to Ami and Column's land. But this was completely dug out all the way here. And they planted grass, which does not solve the problem. So we're trying to fix this giant swale that they dug all the way to here and fill that back in and get something planted to replace the lost foliage, which was a nice privacy screen between these houses and this play area where there's a swing set. And currently, even tonight, like there's still water flowing here and there's a little river flowing like this.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Tyler.
David, I think I would just to reiterate, and I think we kind of touched on this already, is that, so I talked and this is my first enforcement action that I've had to do as a zoning administrator. So in the course of this, I reached out to Dave Rue, the town attorney, is to kind of like, what's in our wheelhouse? What isn't in our wheelhouse, right? There isn't really much that we can do about unpermitted work that was done on other people's property, because that's a dispute between.
That's a civil.
That's a civil matter, so any other agreement towards refilling, that's something that you and the housing trust would have to work out. The town wouldn't have an official position on that.
But they're coming to us with an application for repair.
Right.
And we can
And
condition that.
You can condition screening on their property, right? So again, taking these trees and moving them up to here, requiring additional plantings for the landscaping, you do have authority over that if it's on their property. You just can't require them to
So-
mediate work on other people's property.
if there's no other input from the public, I'd like to entertain a motion to have the town engineer, hire the town engineer to look at what they're proposing, what was there, and get their thoughts, that person's thoughts on the best way to cure this problem.
So if I want to understand this, you want a motion to continue, but you want
Oh, yeah.
provided feedback from the town engineer as to, and we can go over the particulars of what you guys want in deliberative.
Yes, Denise.
Mr. Chair, I am curious, as a resident of Richmond, when something like this happens, now we have to hire our town attorney.
No, we don't. They do.
That's exactly what I was asking.
They have to provide us with a $500 technical review fee. If the review runs more than that, the applicants are on the hook for that. If it's less than that, then the applicants can petition the town for a refund of any outstanding balance from that technical.
Thank you for your
It's pretty
clarification.
straightforward.
Mr. Sunshine. This is Blake, Blake McKay speaking.
Oh, yes,
How are you, sir? Just a little bit of input. The flooding issue that my wife and I have had on 80 Church Street. I swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
thank you.
We've got flooding issues with the back of the hardware store, and now they're adding this additional flooding, and it's going to drain back into our property. We don't want that. And I see that they've got a nice site layout and everything like that, but can they guarantee that it's not going to flood? Not only our property, but the adjoining properties along that.
That's why the board is gonna ask the town engineer to review what is being proposed, what was there, and to give us his professional thoughts.
Yes, because as my wife stated with the retention ponds, we did go through all of that and we did see the site drawings by the civil engineers and everything like that. And the calculations were incorrect. Every time it rains, it comes off a railroad street, floods the retention ponds, floods through our backyard, almost up to the house and all the way down the property line. And we don't want anything like that to happen to our neighbors with the same issues with them flooding. And there's an excessive amount of moisture coming into that area, as I've seen with the pictures that my wife sent to me. So we need to really look at this and make sure that nothing happens like it's doing right now on the retention ponds in the back of our yard.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Want to make a motion?
So moved.
So there's a motion in front of us.
David,
All in
you need a
favor?
Second.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I,
Okay, so we're gonna continue the hearing and ask the town engineer to look into this, and you can arrange with Tyler how that's gonna
So
work.
that would be so continuing to date certain, so that would be July 12th,
If he can have it done by
is a
then.
month enough time?
and July 12th. So yeah, because that's the second Wednesday.
Okay. And if the town engineer, it doesn't make sense to have the hearing if the town engineer hasn't given us his thoughts. So that hearing will be conditional on whether we receive a report from the town engineer or not. Okay?
Yep.
Thank you. And are you comfortable giving the town engineer?
Oh, sure.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we'll coordinate and I can get you in touch with Tyler. I just need to get the check from you guys. Because I gotta put it in the finance, with their finance director. She has to escrow it. And then once we have the check in hand, I can reach out to Tyler. Give him the relevant application materials
Okay,
and do that.
excellent.
And just as a little bit of housekeeping on this, because this is continued, if you guys have anything you want to submit in writing,
Please do.
additional testimony, please provide that to me. The cutoff date for that is gonna be the Friday before that meeting. It's the drop dead. So if I don't have it in hand by then, I'm not going to post it. So please feel free to written to me, whatever you'd like to submit. I'll make sure it gets posted on the website like we had tonight.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you, public.
David, are you able to see all the stuff that I'm sharing? I just wanted to know, I'm sorry. if
Yeah, no, and I really appreciate you getting it up there. It's super helpful. And I also noticed that when people are at the screen, you've been moving the cursor where their hands are, which I also really appreciate, Tyler. So thank you.
Yeah, no worries. I'm just trying to get the stuff.
Church Street is owned by the individual. That's three, White Housing is all.
I know
rental
that, I
housing.
know that, but the Church Street is
It's
individual.
houses.
Next item, please,
That's a common area.
is there a particular, you guys want to have anything up ahead of time with the site plan?
There should be one with a S1 designator on it.
Okay,
Second one.
moving forward slowly.
That's all right. We know best, yeah.
There you go.
Bradley and Karin LaRose. PRESUB 2023-09. They're seeking preliminary approval for a proposed 2-lot subdivision. Lot 1, 1.37 acres, and lot 2, 2.40 acres. And there's the drawing. So let me swear you both in. You swear affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but truth.
Yes, yes.
Okay, and why don't you introduce yourselves and then tell us what you have in mind.
Sure. My name is Robert Walker. I work for Barnard and Jarvis, representing Brad LaRose here and his wife Karin. And we're talking about their property on is it when? Wortham Road, yes.
Yep.
And they're proposing a 2-lot subdivision of their existing property. Since we met at sketch plan, we have received the septic permit, the wastewater and water permit for the property. And you've also got a draft plan of the driveway.
Maintenance
Right,
agreement.
maintenance agreement.
And I didn't see that. Was that submitted?
Don't think it was submitted in my package.
You didn't receive a maintenance agreement, did you?
Maintenance agreement for the road? I did
Yeah.
not, no.
Okay,
We'll need to see.
so you'll need
It is in
to,
draft form at this point because we don't know what we may have to change.
okay,
But we do have a draft.
some point we need to see it.
Sure.
Okay. I'm sorry, go forward.
So that's where we're at right at the moment. We're just here seeking your input and to go forward.
Both mound systems?
Yes, they are. One's actually a bottomless sand filter, which is a form of a mound system, and that is a replacement system in case.
One of those ones the state wants a report on once a year?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. And in your maintenance agreement, is that for the shared driveway? The
Yes.
shared part of the driveway? Okay,
Yes.
fine.
There is no common ground then, it's just a shared driveway. Is it a shared driveway or is it an easement?
It's got a 50-foot right of way going through.
Okay, so the lot behind has a right of way over property that's gonna be owned by the owners of lot 1.
Yes, correct.
So it's a standard easement.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you'll submit an easement and maintenance agreement of some kind
Correct.
and let us see it.
Yep. Yep.
And the curb cut is the existing curb cut.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
Yep.
And the only other thing I see on Tyler's about the grade of the driveway.
Yeah, we're gonna need to see elevations.
Yep. You mean as far as the driveway goes?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
There were a few other things on there too,
You have erosion control on this.
stormwater, there isn't any stormwater information, there's some culverts noted, but.
Yep.
And then just. the
You've
clarification.
seen Tyler's notes, Tyler's right up.
These are all posted on the website, so these are my staff notes of your application, I'm happy to
Okay.
give you copies. of
Yeah,
it.
that would
It's
be
all
great.
publicly Available,
Okay.
but yeah, there's
Yep.
basically the 7 items were. More information, how to plan to deal with stormwater,
Yep.
erosion control. Confirm that the driveway and everything's gonna be built to B71 standards,
Yep.
per the Richmond zoning regulations.
Yep.
Clarify if
Utilities.
there's an HOA and provide the legal documentation for that. Maybe that's not really a big thing, but just make sure that's what you want to call
You're
it.
not gonna have,
Yeah.
are you,
Sure.
are you planning an HOA?
No comment.
No.
So then if you don't need it, then you don't, but I just wasn't sure.
Just a good, it's. Myself, my wife on one lot, my daughter on the other.
Right,
Well, right, that's for the moment.
Yes.
You have to think about
somewhere down the line.
And I did have one, this is a question more, for me, is I wasn't sure, like. This says it's not to scale, but the other map says to scale, so I was trying to figure out if this was scale for. If they were both to scale or not.
No.
They do both. need to be to scale.
That one isn't to scale, this one is to scale.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
just need to clarify, make sure that
Yeah.
everything
That would
was,
give them-
is to the proper scale. That's all.
That-
That could be solved through.
Does that have to be scale or location map?
Yep. Has to be scale.
Seriously?
Yep, and
Okay.
the subdivision regs, yeah, and I noted on here. It is. What's that? Large stormwater system. Culvert, social.
That's fine. It's a click of a button.
It's on there. but
Yeah.
It has to be there. You would need it for final anyways, so
Okay.
it's.
See, it's stormwater.
yes. I'm waiting for the train. We're going to make it.
Well, let me take. the- Anything else from the applicant?
No.
Anything from the public? David, any questions?
No questions.
So these are all items you'd like to see at the final.
So yeah, I mean, I think a lot of this could be just, I don't want to speak for the board, but if the board feels comfortable with. Approving it with. With the condition that they provide all this for final, you guys could do that, you could continue.
Well,
if you
yeah,
want.
no, I mean, that's the purpose of a preliminary is to flesh out what's needed and then they supply it so that hopefully when you show up for the final, everything's in front of us.
Right. Yep. And as far as your driveway grading, are you looking for? You want cross sections?
Yeah.
Or a typical cross section, or do you
Yeah.
want?
There's a standard that's laid out in there,
Okay.
how it has to be shown, it's in the subdivision regs.
Okay,
So
And
that is-
we want to know it's not above 12%.
Yeah.
That's a requirement.
Yeah.
And basically, so that would be section. Article 3, and it's basically section 300 and section 400 of the subdivision regs, and the section. 600 and section 700 just kind of touches on some of the other technical data that you need.
okay,
And I'm happy if you have any questions as to what you need.
sure.
What we'll do for the final.
Yep.
Is we'll meet ahead of time.
Yeah.
I'll have you guys just come in and
That
we'll
would
do
make
a run through of the final. I have a checklist of
That'd be great.
stuff that we can do, so that way we can try and knock any of the big stuff out.
Sure.
Just given the volume of applications this time, I just didn't have time to.
Yeah.
Arrange a meeting with
That's
you
fine.
ahead of time.
Yep.
Cause we could have caught the storm, usually we catch like stormwater and that other stuff, but again, it's
Yep.
not showstopper stuff.
Excellent. Okay.
Okay, I'd entertain a motion.
Well, I move that we approve the preliminary with the conditions. That we get information about stormwater and erosion control. Tyler, have you satisfied your curb cut requirement?
Yeah, I think if you just,
One?
yeah, that's up to, if you guys, it's
That's
not me,
existing.
it's up to you guys, if you guys. are
So,
happy with it.
I'm okay with the curb cut the way it is. And in lieu of a homeowners association, it'll be a condition that you supply us with a right-of-way agreement that includes, some kind of joint maintenance for the driveway.
The shared part.
For the shared part, right? And, Tyler, are you okay on the scale business, or do you want?
They would have, what we could just do is they have to do that anyway, so
All
we'll
right,
just,
so we will need a plan set drawn to scale. And we need something on the driveway to make sure it doesn't exceed 12%.
The plan is to scale. There should be, if you move it up, there is a scale on that. We'll just make the location map to. a
yeah, the
scale.
met location, that this little map itself has to be done to scale.
Roger, I'm
So I-
sorry, I didn't hear, did you catch the note on the erosion plan as well?
Yes, it's
Yeah.
in there.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
stormwater erosion, let me just make sure.
Your items are all.
I'd second that.
So I have information about stormwater erosion control, supply right of way, and maintenance agreement for driveway. Make sure all the maps are drawn to scale, and then driveway and something noting that the driveway will not exceed.
Whatever the requirement is for showing driveway.
Do you want, well, he's gotta file it anyways, but the wastewater permit. Copy of
It's gotta
it.
be filed in.
Yeah, it's gotta be
Can-
copied.
Can you
Yeah,
supply a copy to,
sure.
You want a copy for the,
Yeah.
okay, yep.
Yeah.
Can make that a condition.
post that? All in favor?
Fine.
Aye,
Aye.
great.
Perfect.
So
Thank
we have 45 days to prepare a decision, which we'll try to do much faster than that.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you.
very
guys.
much.
I'll keep you
Thank
guys
you.
posted.
Okay, great.
And you'll get it in a hard copy from me by a state statute. I have to mail you a certified copy, but feel free to, I can also email and do whatever. You know, put me in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay. Next on the agenda, Jameson Partners LLC. Application SUB 2023-08. They're seeking final approval for a plan unit development at 22 Depot Street. Which would entail removal of several single-story wood frame garages and buildings, consolidation and reconstruction of on-site parking, construction of a 3-story addition with commercial lease space on the ground floor. Why don't you introduce yourselves?
For the record, my name is Greg Rabideau from Rabideau Architects. And I am the project architect, and with me is
Derek Reed. I'm with
Reed.
Krebs and
We didn't
Lansing.
beat you up enough.
um, this project at 22 Depot Street is a familiar lot for people around town. It's the existing location of the Giffords Funeral Home. And last year, in the last year, the upper levels of that building had been renovated into a, you know, there were apartments before, but they've been cleaned up and.
They were
made
never
nice.
used, were they?
I'm sorry,
They hadn't been really used for.
I can't answer that because I didn't talk to George directly. I was. dealing
Yeah, I
with
asked George once and he said it'd been a year since someone
Yeah.
had been up there.
What we're proposing is labeled the new building. And that is intended to sort of made up with the existing building, present a uniform street frontage. It's essentially meant to be an extension of the Masonic block. That defines our downtown. This new building would, on the ground floor, have commercial. We don't have a tenant yet, so we're gonna ask you to have your findings based on the most restrictive use that we anticipate using. Which I believe in this case is actually professional
Funeral
office.
A what?
Professional office actually requires more parking than retail, so.
Yeah, it does. It's 3.5 instead of 2.5.
So we are gonna ask for a parking waiver for that new commercial. So the ground floor commercial space, we don't know who the tenant's gonna be yet. And then on the upper 2 floors are 4 2-bedroom apartments. So central staircase and there's 2 units on each floor. We are going to essentially reconstruct the whole rear parking lot behind the building on the property, including squaring up some other issues. We're gonna replace the landscaping. And generally speaking, I think can you show an elevation for me?
Yeah, absolutely.
All your ingress and egress. the
Is it
parking
on the
will be
set or is there a
through the alleyway
separate-
there?
Is it on a separate elevation sheet, Greg?
Uh,
Or is it in this plan set? So this is
yeah,
like the big one.
it should be in the architect's set. It's
Tell me, is this,
no, you're looking.
or is it, or do you want are you looking for the exterior elevation?
Yeah, I am. You two-
It's on your, it's on the sheet.
You have them in your hands.
Right.
These are.
Oh, was this one of the ones that you submitted to me?
Yeah, they won't be on your.
Okay, hang on a minute, then, if you want me to share it. David, this might be one of the emails that I sent you. on Depot Street. I may not be able to share that one.
One of these from this afternoon?
Yeah, there's one on Depot Street.
Basically, sheet A200 will get us there.
Hang on, let's see if I
No.
can find it.
Part of, this doesn't.
Um,
I think this is the new three-story addition.
Oh, it's a different one right over there. That's it, I think. Is it, this one?
exterior elevations, let's work with that one.
This
There
one?
we go, yeah, exactly so. So if we scroll up so we can see the top page, where you see south elevation facing Depot Street. The building on the far left is the proposed new construction.
What's there now?
It's empty air.
Just empty. okay.
So right now, there's a
George's garage.
there's a driveway that kind of goes around the side of the building and it goes back and there's a whole jumble of little outbuildings. There's a couple different garages and all that gets scraped. So yeah, the facade facing Depot Street is intended to pick up on the themes of the general downtown. So it's a brick facade with traditional style stilted segmental 2/2 windows with transom lights. And a detailed cornice at the top to sort of be consistent with other historic buildings in the block. You see there the ground floor entrance and I would direct your attention to the far left corner of the drawing, the building. I just want to point out that the maximum grade from the low spot on Depot Street to the roof is 31 feet 8 inches. That was something I was asked to confirm. And that's the worst case scenario because grade rises up over the length of the street about a foot. And it also rises up from the front of the building to the back. So our entrance in the back is elevated above the first floor elevation a little bit in order.
Only your facade is gonna have brick.
Yeah, the two side, the one side that would be exposed, the other one's buried in a party wall. And the short side facing the parking lot would both have clapboards. And I brought, in case anybody was interested, I brought a sample of the brick we would intend to use. We'll just say that it's intended to be a molded brick with a traditional, very traditional uniform, sort of non-flash color range. So this, in our opinion, is a good approximation of the old Drury bricks that are so common on.
The whole block is.
Right.
Yeah.
So, our goal would be to do that with a tinted mortar. And then the siding is a composite, it's a sort of modern composite wood siding, but in a sort of sagey green color. We're specifying this as a siding product because it has the look of traditional clapboards without the sort of expense it would take to find quarter sawn hemlock.
What's it made out of?
This is a wood composite that's sort of chopped up wood and then it's put together with a resin and autoclave. So
Pressed together.
it's a little bit different than the other product that's widely used is called hardy siding. They're kind of interchangeable, except we find this one resists water a little better. What I would say is we wanted to pick something that was definitely not vinyl siding. I don't think it's appropriate. I don't think it'd go here. So this is what we think of as a good sign.
And Tyler, we have the right to.
You can regulate materials, color. This and Jelena Court are the two districts that are the most regulatory intensive in terms of what you guys have the ability to prove. So any exterior change down here, you guys, be it landscaping, color, you want to take a light and move it. Any exterior change is theoretically supposed to go through you guys.
Okay.
Typically, standing sheet metal things like copings and flashings will be the same dark metal as to match the window frames, which are going to be black. Yeah, it's not a complicated project. It's pretty simple. I want to sort of remind you of the back elevation facing the parking lot. That area back there is. Well, it's a little bit of a jumble, but I think this is really going to help improve things quite a bit. We are proposing to plant new trees back there. I'm specifying a native species of Vermont tree that has a narrow growth habit. It's a red maple, but it tends to grow tight vertically. And then we're, there we go.
There it is. Yep.
And then I'm proposing a continuous boxwood hedge, basically. Buxus macrophylla, around the parking lot. To sort of screen it from the neighbor to the west. It used to be Bruce Jacobs. I don't know if the Jacobs family still owns that or.
I think they do.
Yeah,
No?
but you know, there's sort of a break between the commercial district and then this steps into the residential, so. We decided to screen the parking lot and that's how we got our value up. There is also a little utility shed in the back, that's, you know. A standard shed like Red Elmore model, but that's large enough, it's intended to be large enough to contain all the 1 yard rollaway waste containers. And to provide a place for people to store bikes indoors.
And snow tires?
You know, I think about half of that space will be used by the rollaway containers. We'll have one for each tenant. And they'll have to roll those out to the end, they'll have to roll those out to where the driveway is. That's how they back in there now to pick up dumpsters. So Derek and I are gonna work out a spot where they can bring those down to where the trash guy can grab them. 12 new parking spaces proposed, but that's basically 2 for each new dwelling.
Is that what's required, Tyler?
Yes, there is. Yep, for the dwelling. So they have enough parking for the dwellings, which is, I believe they're required to have 12 spaces. They have the 12.
Yeah.
The issue becomes the commercial space. In that you're not technically supposed to use, it's supposed to have its own standalone parking, like you can't. Take the parking from the residential component and then add it to, you know, use it for the commercial double deck unless you guys waive that.
We'd ask you to do that.
How many spaces will they be lacking? Of course, that depends on the.
I think I
use.
It really
calculated.
does depend on the use. I didn't calculate that.
I
unfortunately.
calculated 5. The rate is 3.5 per thousand. We have just over 1,500 square feet of net leasable area on the ground floor, which, you know, the math, if you round up, you'll get a 5. So we would ask for 5 spaces to be waived. We are operating under the assumption that the Giffords Funeral Home is existing. Non-conforming. Because that's never had any.
How many commercial tenants do you contemplate?
In the new part that we're here for approval today, probably just 1. It's only 1,500 square feet. Yeah. But it is very much a part of the character
How
of the
many
district.
square feet are in the funeral home?
Oh, in the existing building?
Yeah.
Boy, that's larger because it's significantly wider. We're only 36 feet by 55. That's more like 42 by 55. So they're probably another 500 square feet bigger, I think.
So the issue would happen if the funeral home left. That would be.
If there's
that
a
would
change
make-
of use, I assume we'd have to come back anyhow, right?
So funeral parlors are an allowed use. So I think where you're okay with if they're not looking to expand that use.
Right,
But like giving them more space, their parking is kind of grandfathered.
but if they went
But
away.
if they went away or they said, hey, we want to move it or make it bigger, that kind of throws out that old approval. And then we had that conversation about moving it. And I'm like, well, if you move it, now it has to comply to whatever it is.
That was on the
Now,
table briefly,
yeah.
but it's not gonna happen. So, yeah, I guess while we're on the subject, in case anybody's interested, I do want to mention that, the way modern funeral homes work today, a lot of the technical services that they provide are done in a central facility. So this is really a sort of viewing, memorial service kind of space. There aren't any, isn't any embalming
Or
or
processing?
there's no storing of remains or anything on site. So,
So no chemicals.
right, it's come up. People have asked, you know, what are they using? And I said, well, whatever they're doing, they're not doing it here.
Was it historically done there?
Oh, I imagine, you know, way back when, yeah.
Do you need some sort of like vapor barrier or protective barrier to put residential there?
Well, we're not working in that building. I
No, but it would have migrated to the adjacent site.
I don't think so. I'm not aware of any sort of circular level kind of super fundy kind of problem with this site. We
Doesn't have to be circular.
I just meant, no, super fun kind of thing. No, we will have a vapor barrier under our slab anyhow, as part of our energy package. The slab will be insulated and a vapor barrier will be there to keep moisture from migrating up anyhow.
Gotcha.
So we do a pretty good job of sealing our slabs against grade anymore for energy purposes. I'm not
So you're not
concerned.
gonna have a basement.
No. We're super close to the flood district.
Yeah.
And so any subgrade space like that is likely to just be a problem.
Is there a basement in the funeral home?
Probably the historic-
Hi, this is Aaron Stewart with Stewart Construction. I'm the construction manager. We did the work in the other building, in the existing building. Can I speak to that?
Please do.
All right, so there, under the existing building, there is a full basement everywhere except for where the garage spaces are that are going to be torn off. They have not done any sort of embalming activities there in over a decade. So the only thing that comes in is a body rolls in a casket. They do a viewing, the body rolls out to a storage facility afterwards. So there are no sorts of embalming or stabilizing processes that happen on the site. It literally is just a room for people to view a body.
Great, thank you.
It's a necessary service for our community, but I also think in this case, it's kind of handy just to note that it's not occupied full-time every day. You live and you work in the neighborhood, you know about how frequently they have services at Giffords, and it's usually at times that aren't really competing with the other downtown businesses, so for the most part, Saturday.
Most of the viewing hours are in the evening.
Right. Yeah, so I did want to make special mention of there's an existing water line that goes up the alley between the buildings. We had conversations with the folks from Sweet Simone's and some of the other business owners. We're amenable to replacing that line in the same size and location, just, putting a new line in before we pave.
Gee, it needs it.
And, but I have to say for all kinds of reasons, our commitment to that will stop at the property line. So if, we'll swag on to the existing system. If anybody wants to leapfrog off of that, they can, but we can't
So-
technically propose improvements on other
So
people.
that line, does that feed this building?
No,
No.
right, you're taking a new water service in, right?
We're bringing a new service to the new building, yes.
Because wouldn't you need permission from the town water and sewer department probably to be able to tie in, right? If you were to replace that, or would you be replacing the town one?
This is a private line that runs up that alley. I don't think the alley belongs to the town. I think it belongs to the block. Part of it belongs to this
It
parcel.
belongs to Sydney, I know that.
Hmm?
She's made that clear.
Yeah, the property line kind of runs up not quite on the right-hand side of that alley. So a little bit of it spills over onto the Masonic Temple portion. What we're just saying is replacing in kind. Just put in a new one so that if down the road, whatever, we don't have to tear up that driveway.
So you're gonna put in a new line for the new building.
Coming off a depot.
Correct.
Is the old line what serves the existing building? That,
There is a line that comes in directly under the existing entrance at the center of the building that services the existing building
I see.
off of Depot Street.
So Denise, the line that serves your building that Greg was talking about, that just serves the buildings.
Correct.
Up from the Masonic building.
Yeah, it's
Correct.
It's been there forever, and I think there's some concern that it needs work, and so the thought process would be
Definitely needs work.
prudent to replace it while we're there.
Right.
Because we're gonna resurface all that. Yeah, I just want to make a sort of general
So are
fix.
you? You just hit on something, you're resurfacing the alleyway? You will resurface the alleyway?
The driveway on our property back to where it turns left and goes back to the parking lot, and then that whole parking lot is proposed to be paved.
It's gravel now.
It's gravel now.
It is considered impervious, so they're not really increasing their
It's already,
level of, well, I think, are
it's
you?
already impervious.
Yeah, and they are about maxed out, but they are still under the impervious requirement, but they're getting chalk dust on their.
Yeah,
cleats.
we're right on the limit.
We,
What is it now, a half acre?
For permit jurisdiction, yes, of new, and in this case, there's not much new because there's a lot of impervious. We are adding new. So we stay under the trigger, but we are doing stormwater treatment on site. We have an infiltration chamber system that will be placed under the parking lot right here.
Oh, okay.
It will, it fully infiltrates the 10-year storm. We have really good sandy, kind of gravelly material. And the town has a 25-year pre-coast storm requirement. And so we don't fully infiltrate the 25-year storm, but we are reducing the post-development levels below what they are today.
I
So-
think that is an issue though, Dave, because it does pretty clearly say it has to be designed for 25-year.
But it talks about being below the existing levels. I believe that was what,
I'm not a stormwater
Okay.
expert, so like this stuff is a little, trickier for me. How I read that. When I looked at it, is it has to be designed for up to 25-year. 24-hour.
That's the path we've been taking.
Yeah, that's what it has to be designed to.
right, so we have designed it so that we have reduced peak discharge in the post-development condition to a level less than the pre-development condition. So we meet that standard. We don't infiltrate all of it, but we detain it and infiltrate so much that we are actually still releasing less from the site than.
Right, but that still kind of becomes the issue is that, and this is where gets tricky. It's even if it's a reduction, if it's not designed to that standard. That
Well, I
specific
guess I'm
standard.
arguing that it is designed to that standard because we've
Okay.
reduced
And
it.
again, I'm not, like I
Okay.
said, this may just be a semantic,
And I
a
think
question of semantics.
When we
because I don't-
design for the state stormwater, we design for the 10-year storm, the 100-year storm when it's applicable. What you design to is to reduce your post-development peak discharge rates below the pre-development rates. And so I reviewed it under that same guise, was that it was. When this project's built, you'll see less water in the 25-year storm than you would in. Than in the pre-development condition.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, we're seeing those.
There's not
underneath
that much water back there, is there?
Not yet,
Okay.
but it may change drastically. And I've got lots of questions and I can be sworn in after.
Okay.
Hang on one
You're
second.
ready.
Get to you in a
I found the
minute.
section here. Perfect. So this is 6.1.6, subsection C.
I got it right here.
All parking areas and associated roadways shall be designed and constructed with detention devices such as, but not limited to. Overland grass or indoor stone lined swales, detention basins and settling ponds. In order to assure that the post-development peak flow stormwater volumes from such parking areas and roadways. Do not exceed the pre-development qualities based on the runoff from a 25-year. 24-hour storm event. All such devices shall be designed and constructed to the standards in the public works specification. Except that in the event of a conflict between the public works specifications and the preceding sentence. The preceding sentence shall control unless stormwater flows are contained on the lot. If such parking areas and road areas are located, there must also be adequate off-site drainage to accommodate such flow. So that's what that.
6.1.1.
1.6, yep. Subsection C.
Yep.
And let me just try to see here in my notes, because it's also hit on a little bit in the subdivision regs.
It does sound like you guys.
I'm just trying to find exactly where I have this on my notes. Oh, then.
What is a 25-year, 24-hour storm event?
We need Patrick.
I know, I was expecting Patrick to be here.
He understands this.
Yeah, because it looks here, and this is what threw me, when I read your plan set. It was designed for a 10-year. 24-hour storm event, not a 25-year.
Right, so,
24-hour storm event.
so I didn't describe it as well as probably I could have.
Question
It's fully infiltrating the 10-year storm. But by fully infiltrating it, the runoff is less for the 25-year storm than in pre-development condition. So that's how I.
Right, but then it does say unless stormwater flows are contained on the lot for such parking areas. or buildings are located, There must also be adequate off-site drainage areas to accommodate.
Well, that's the point of the retention basin on site.
Right, what I'm saying is, do you have enough to kind of, whatever the excess.
Oh,
is
yes,
going
sorry,
on?
so when it goes by.
That's what that
Yeah,
says.
yeah, okay. So what we've done at that point is there's a curb cut for the larger storms when it comes, when it's 25-year storms, big storm. If it comes to that,
It's
there's
like Irene, right?
much worse than Irene. Irene was 10. So it's much worse.
We're all flooded, basically.
Yeah, so,
David, we're having a little bit of a, sorry, guys, we're having some technical difficulties here. Hang on a minute. I'm just gonna pause the recording. I'll apologize, guys, but we are now back live.
To my hearing, it sounds like you're sort of talking past each other, but Derek is saying that we are in compliance with section 6 of the ordinance. Yeah, by virtue.
Yeah, I guess I would like Patrick's thoughts on that.
Okay. That's not unreasonable.
So I mean, that would, again, this would be the option if you guys wanted to continue it. You could require, again, we could keep Tyler very busy and we could, require technical review.
Like
if
see
you-
Tyler.
If you wanted to do that,
I don't think we need to go to Tyler.
Okay.
I would just like Patrick to look at it.
Is if it were possible to make that a condition of approval, I don't even know if you're heading towards it.
well, the issue is that if they make it a condition of approval, if he comes back and says that there's a problem or doesn't like it, they've already approved it, and this is the final approval.
Yeah, but then in order to comply with that and come in and actually pull a zoning permit, we'd have to fix the problem, right?
True, but it wouldn't, again, it might be able to, you guys may be able to
Close the hearing. go to
fix it
Session like that.
ahead of time, you know what I mean? Make sure, 'cause
Yeah.
there may not even be a problem. to fix.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there isn't. I just, I hate to lose.
Because typically, I hear you, but typically it's one of those things that the board, again, you don't have to, there is always that other option of holding that second meeting. The only issue is if I wanted to do it, we would have to do it.
No, I
sooner.
think what
we have a solution.
we have a solution.
Okay.
Do you guys have anything else?
I just want to generally close by saying that this is the kind of project that we've all been thinking about for a long time. It's not a big project for Richmond. It's only 4 new units and a little bit of commercial space, which I think is a good fit for the village center. But it's a high quality project and I think it takes an area that's a little bit derelict now and buffs it up some. So I just feel good about presenting the project to you and I hope we can gain your support.
Thank you. Let's open it to the public. Denise,
Yeah.
please swear you in. You swear for tell the truth, whole truth.
You can
and
pull the chair up.
Okay.
Come on up, Denise.
Hi, my name's Denise Barnard. I own Bridge Street here, but my husband and I also own the building directly across from your building, kitty corner, right behind where,
The old dentist's office?
no,
Or-
in the block,
Oh, okay.
in the block.
Yes.
I can actually do this too.
Yes, please do, because I have lots of questions. So, I just have lots of questions and the first picture you pulled up with the 2 buildings face on from the Depot Street.
Yes.
Elevation.
Yeah, this one here.
Yeah, the elevation.
Oh, hang on a second. No, that is, no. Which is it? This it?
Yes.
That's it.
And
Oh, well, that's
thank you for allowing citizens to come and ask.
Just the old one.
close enough.
Well,
But
let me,
anyway.
I don't think it
no,
was the
let
one
me,
you
there it
shared
is. Yeah,
earlier.
sorry, one of them was in my email.
Okay,
That's-
so I guess my question is on the new building that you propose to build,
Yes.
what is the feet difference between the old building and the new building?
The floors don't line up, if that's what you're asking.
Nope, I'm asking
Oh, what's,
from this point right here to this point, how many feet difference is that?
oh, that's only the parapet, the roof behind is actually below all that. That sticks up about 1.5 feet to keep people from walking off the edge of the roof and to contain any water on the roof directed to our roof drainage. So the parapet sticks up about 1.5 feet from the top of the existing building, but the roof is not sticking up behind there, so.
But the Masonic Temple building that you have to your right and the Gifford Funeral Home building, those are the same height, is that correct?
No, I think the Masonic Temple building is significantly taller. than
Oh, it is,
Gifford's
but it's
building.
not shown in there.
Yeah,
I think it's
no, what you're seeing is,
Story.
what you're seeing are the 3 sides of the new building. You're not seeing, you're not seeing the.
Right. And it's my understanding that only the front is gonna be bricked, or is all 3 gonna be bricked? All 3 sides.
Hang on.
Only one side is gonna have brick.
I got
This
this
side
myself.
facing the street.
I'm just gonna
Can
try.
I
to
interrupt
pull
with a
it.
question about that? Is it a significant cost to brick the side? You know, if you're standing on Depot Street and you're looking at the back of those row of buildings, you see a uniform facade of brick. What is the prejudice to the owner to put a brick wall to sort of end cap that at the end
Well,
of Depot Street?
There's a
It
couple,
it
Chuck.
would probably be an additional cost to the project of around $40,000 to $50,000 to do that side.
Okay.
And that's, I have to tell you, I mean, our projections are is that our costs are gonna be very tight to make this work. But we did very much want to make a commitment to a good looking, downtown kind of building look.
And you did mention that earlier, that you wanted to development up and you wanted to bring it up to make it look nicer, because you're saying it's not looking very nice right now. And if you wanted to make it look nicer, if you did all 3 sides, that would be an improvement for the town of Richmond. I love the town of Richmond.
Me too.
I think that it would be, something that we would have forever. I think it would be so much more beautiful for our town that's being, changed and redeveloped and improved every day. So that's just one of my points. The second you had spoke about water pipes under the main bridge. Can we go back to that one between the alleyway?
Yeah, hang on. Or did you want to go, hang on a second, let me just get rid of this, because you have too
Okay.
many things up. Did you want this or no, you wanted?
Well, I was hoping they were gonna be the same height, but Masonic Temple building is already so high.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
super.
significantly
yeah.
higher.
Yeah, that's not even
It's-
close.
It's higher than all the other buildings.
Right,
So
right.
there you go. This doesn't have the
So
utilities.
Does
on it.
this work right here?
Yeah, that works right there. Okay, so the water pipe, and I'm going from memory from 10-15 years ago.
Yeah.
So the water pipe runs up and I think that our shut off valve is right here. I think,
Okay,
is that the water pipe?
That's what I remember too. Denise.
That's what you remember too?
yeah, and I know it was Sweet Simone's, and got, they're also interested in this issue, so.
Right. And so anyway, you have those businesses that have to have our water.
Oh, yeah.
You said you're willing to replace that pipe. That pipe is really tiny and not to the standards of the water sewer department. So I think it needs to be a larger diameter pipe to be, when it gets replaced, because it's not to standard now.
It's a 2-inch line now, I think. isn't it?
I think so. And I apologize, I didn't bring that,
No, I mean,
agreements.
I think the nominal difference in the price of the pipe isn't a big deal.
right, but I just wanted to bring that up before it happens.
No,
that
we do know that that is a smaller pipe and you'd have to replace it with a 4-inch line. So the pipes that feed the beyond there, we're not replacing anything that's on the your properties continuing beyond there would continue with whatever your smaller diameter pipe is, but we would replace it with a 4-inch line so that you guys have any future capacity that you want to tap off of.
Yeah, and it'll just have a step down valve in it for now.
Well, unless you're willing to.
Well, and Lisa Curtis from Sweet Simone's and I have been discussing that maybe when you do your work, we will pay for the part that goes further to upgrade it, since it's gonna be open, you're gonna have the equipment there, and that we would like to work with you on that project.
I think that's amenable. I think if you're willing to pay for it, we
Right.
just can't propose.
We're not
improvements.
willing to pay for the larger pipe
No, we've already made that.
They've already said
Okay,
that.
4 inch, okay.
Yeah, no, it's,
Okay.
it's okay for us to extend it up to the property line. It's just not appropriate for us to propose improvements on your land.
Right, absolutely, I
So,
totally understand.
We'll get you up to a point where you can take the ball and run with it and, sidebar deal with the site work
Right.
contractor.
Can you
It's-
do a live picture of the alleyway?
Yep, hang on a minute.
Thanks.
There you go.
Okay.
Switch down here a little bit. Oop,
It's hard to get right at the end
So-
of
yeah,
it.
hang on a minute.
And
here. I'm
can
gonna
I
try
use
and just-
another clarification for you for water?
It's about as good as I think I can get it, guys.
Right now, your water for the existing building comes out of here, is that correct?
That's the water that goes down the alleyway.
That's
Ours,
the alleyway.
ours comes in across the street, basically. There's another one of those
Okay.
over on the other side of the street that's.
Okay, so first question, I'm just trying to get information. So here, how this is so deteriorated. Since you're working on that building, is this considered like the same project? And do you have to bring it up to handicap accessible standards so that this building would be handicap accessible?
It's, that's a complicated set of issues, but I don't, I think our plan is to replace all that pavement.
The concrete's all being replaced.
Yeah.
And we will put a tip down.
Yeah.
Here, so
We
that
talked about,
if you can. For accessibility to get up that
Up
level.
to here, but
But
what about
that's a
the
stair.
accessibility to here?
Right, that's a stair that I don't.
I don't-
That's
I-
a,
it's a question.
it's a historic building and it's non-conforming and it's gonna stay that way because the property line runs like right in front of the last stair, so there's
Okay.
no room to put a ramp in there.
And Tyler, do you actually have any pictures that actually show the alley?
I don't, I'm trying to kind of
It's
Okay.
almost impossible. to
Google
get
card
lines.
this.
Right, okay, so you don't, we're not getting it. So
This is as good as I can get. you,
up
I'm
this
sorry.
alleyway behind the Masonic Temple, I'm worried about safety. On the right, I think, and I wasn't around for the last 3 days and I apologize, but up the alleyway, yeah,
Let me just come down here,
Okay.
maybe.
maybe.
Is that better?
Yeah, there's a bunch of gas meters and stuff in there.
And not gas meters, there's gas tanks.
Yeah.
And we have trucks that make shipments and deliveries up back.
Yeah.
And they've hit them before, and
Yeah.
with your proposed parking lot, you now have 12 spaces. So we have the potential of each person is going to be probably going in and out at least 24 times a day. Can we go back to this?
No.
Oh, not 24 times. a
Yeah,
day.
well, if they go to work and then they come home,
That's 4.
there's 24 per car. Right? Well, so there's 12 cars.
Oh, I see.
They
what you're
each
saying.
go
I see what
2
you're saying.
times in
I
to work
understand.
and out to
I
work.
understand. We actually have information about traffic rates. if We want to get into
So
that.
I just, it makes,
Whose gas tanks are they?
I think they're the Masonic Temple and all their tenants. And I think, I don't know if there's 4 or 6.
1, 2,
They
3,
brought
4,
propane
5,
tanks
6.
or?
There's 6.
6.
And they're not
okay.
ours, but.
And they're not yours,
They're not
and
ours.
you're not gonna make improvements to them. However, it is a safety concern for me.
Oh, they're actually located in the alley.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, they're right between the building and where you drive in.
Would you have C1 that you could pop up as the overall site plan?
Hang on one second. This one here?
Go, it's, what is that sheet? I don't,
This is.
oh, that's my mixed.
This is C.
Oh, here they are. That's.
C5.
that's,
Oh, these right there, yep.
Yeah.
That shows.
Right.
Well, they're in the alley.
yeah.
Who
Right,
owns the
and
alley?
It's shared with like many buildings, the Masonic Temple in the block, which is my company.
Well, we own 78% of it.
So this line right here,
That's the property line running right up there. So it's,
Yeah, but they don't own that.
they don't own the tanks.
I
no,
wonder who owns that portion of the
Probably the
alley. Is
Masonic.
Masonic Temple.
yeah.
that a violation something?
I
So,
mean, it's be legally non-conform, whatever's there is there.
There are bollards there, but they're not enough of them, it seems. They're probably added them over time.
I remember when the town clerk was in the other
oh,
building.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. And the library,
Clerks used to bang into the building
All the time.
yeah.
Is there some kind of barrier or is there?
So there's bollards
There's
there.
no barriers.
But I'm saying, can there be a barrier?
It looks like you could put a section of, guardrail, I was gonna say, galvanized guardrail or something in there. I'm not sure that's my client's responsibility.
I'm not saying it is, I'm just asking if it's possible.
Yeah, well, it's a curious thing because it's an existing condition that people have been living with for a while.
Well, but you're proposing a lot more traffic going up that alleyway
Okay.
than
Yeah.
exists.
Yeah. That's, okay, that's a factor.
Is it, are they, those are gas, I mean, are they the storage tanks? What are they?
Propane
LP
tanks.
tanks, yeah, they're propane tanks.
Oh, they're propane tanks.
Like the 100
So
gallons.
are they permanent propane tanks? So they get replaced every once in a while.
I think.
So whatever barrier would be there would have to keep the tanks accessible.
Well, they fill them with a hose.
Well, they don't replace the tank then. They just,
Can we go
they're
back?
permanent tanks. That's what my question was. So they're permanent tanks. that-
Yeah, they're the bigger
Property.
tanks.
So they just roll a propane truck
Do
in
you want
there.
the, which one? You want
They
this,
go.
No,
or do you want the actual plan set? Okay, up
Um,
here, like, or do you?
no,
want the
actually, the
Google
actual
Maps one?
picture.
You
Yeah,
want the Google Maps?
yeah,
one?
yeah. I'm sorry, guys. I know it's late and,
We're fine with this. Great.
okay.
The whole thing, whatever.
All right, so
I did
the
one.
next question, can you enlarge it, Tyler?
Hmm?
Can you enlarge it?
I can zoom in here. This is really, I'm kind of
Okay,
dealing with
yeah.
Google's.
Okay, so if you come up here. I don't know how I'm gonna show this.
Want me to try and,
I want to show how I have 2 parking spaces, Sweet Simone's has 5. We have to let the garbage trucks in there,
so
the
this be
recycle
better?
trucks.
Yeah,
What's your point, Denise?
Okay, my point is that when you come in here, I don't know what.
Yeah,
I think it gives you a little bit
Okay,
better.
so when you come in here, see the parking spots?
yeah.
So we have 2, we have numbered 1 through 5. This is such a sharp 45-degree angle right here that, I mean, are you gonna take up my parking spaces?
So our driveway has to stay on this side of the red line.
Right,
So,
So we get to that red line and we take our turn there.
yeah,
right, so it's a 45-degree angle turn. It's like,
It's a 90-degree angle turn, but
90.
there's a
sorry,
there's a
90.
curb radius on there.
It's like,
and-
how are you not gonna hit your building?
so we have a curb, because of what you said, to protect. Well, water's coming down the hill too, so.
Totally, and wait till winter, honey, when it's
Yeah.
clear ice.
And where you put snow?
Good points.
So we are,
I don't think we can.
this is the existing,
Like that particular part.
The 5,
parking.
yep,
Yeah, the parking's all right here, so
Right.
that's where it is today. We're cutting, just like you said, quickly,
I mean,
right
it's
before the parking.
gonna be crazy. So how many feet are from here to here?
That's 10 foot.
That's 10 foot.
Yeah.
And they're gonna make that turn that sharp,
Cars.
because they're gonna try to come in and then they're gonna try to back against the buildings and then to try to get down in there.
Well, they're not.
And then what's the elevation difference
There is-
between this and this road? So where we park
Yeah.
and where you're gonna park,
We're building a wall, sorry.
right?
Yeah, we're building like a rockwood retaining wall, a concrete with a nice base wall with a fence above, because,
Where's that going?
yep,
Right along the front of those cars essentially.
yeah, basically what we're doing is
There's a
because
gross
of the
metal
grade
in there now.
change.
Yeah, that has to go.
So we'll have a chain link fence so that when cars pull in, they have, a nice barrier to stop against. And then our wall is right below it.
David, there is another issue that kind of touches on this issue a little bit, and we kind of talked about that is, plans for trash and other things, right? Because this is the thing, they haven't supplied any turning diagrams to show that you can put a dump truck or delivery truck or any other thing, which they don't need to do a delivery truck because they're under their commercial space. The space doesn't require them to have a loading zone.
Right.
Oh, but there's also the issue too with fire. And I don't know what the fire lane is for that, if they're expected to try and get a fire truck back in behind there.
I don't know many fire chiefs that would do that.
Well, I'm just not sure,
But,
because there isn't a fire lane noted, so I just wasn't sure what the.
The
plan was.
Uniform Fire Code starts with an assumption that we have access to 25% of the building perimeter. And the side facing Depot Street's obviously accessible. The side facing the parking lot, facing the Jacobs property is accessible.
All right.
And I think if there's a fire, they'll fight it from Depot Street.
No, I just wasn't, because I just wasn't sure if there was a plan for him to go there, because that wasn't shown, there wasn't a turning diagram back there.
And then the other question, the little outbuilding, is that here? Your little outbuilding?
No, that's the back
Right
of the
here.
valley.
It's gonna be right here.
It's gonna be in that little notch back there.
So
yeah.
one of your tenants is gonna have to drag them,
That's Jacobs property. You just want
All
to.
of it, it's just right here.
There you go.
it's gonna have to drag them down through here and then down through here and leave them on that corner. I mean, I don't have a lot of faith that they, and then if they're
Yeah.
there all day long, they're gonna get.
I don't know that the tenants do that. I think the haulers do that. Yeah, we're not talking about a dumpster. We're talking about rollaway containers.
Is there any way they could roll away on the Jacobs property line
I
side?
can't encroach on someone else's land like that.
But I mean, you don't mind doing it here
No, we're
in
staying.
the alleyway.
They own
We own the alley. Or the-
You own a portion of the.
Yeah,
alley.
we own,
They own the
That-
portion that you can drag
But if
container
they're,
over.
I mean, are you gonna put them on your stoop? Is that where you're gonna leave them?
no, we've been talking about this. I think we need to have a staging area at the back of our building where they can line them up and then they'll just have to bring them out to the truck one at a time. I lived with that situation on, my office was on College Street for years where I was in Terry Boyle's building and they just would roll out to the street.
Right.
But there were a lot of tenants there. It's
The other-
5 1-yard containers.
The other advantage is that those dumpsters. The trash truck comes down that road, so there's opportunity to be.
It backs up the alleyway.
Yes.
Right,
yeah,
right, right.
Right, so instead of being on the street, there's the opportunity.
Right.
I assume it'll continue to do so for you guys.
Right. Oh, totally, it's gonna
Yeah.
continue.
Yeah, we just don't see him taking any kind of turns and driving into our lot. We're gonna have to meet him where he is.
Right. The other question, you're gonna pave up to your property line in the winter, and it doesn't look like a very steep incline. It is glare ice. I mean, it's glare ice sometimes, and now you're gonna pave it, which is fine, and I appreciate, and I wanna be a good neighbor, but also, I mean, I've been there for 24 years, so I know what it's like. And that road gets like glare ice because the water runs down the whole road and it's a skating rink. So we have to have sand trucks come in the winter, plow trucks come in the winter. And I guess my other question, snow removal, and do we need an agreement for the shared partial? So you're gonna plow up into your property line down in,
Yeah,
and then sand as well?
well, our business, our building owner is gonna have to maintain his property just like anyone else. And they are reputable people. I mean, they're good people. Yeah, these are normally things I think they'd have to do to operate the building, but I don't think they're controversies.
And when we met last fall.
Yeah.
I heard that there wasn't gonna be a chain link fence. You just mentioned chain link fence. I heard it was gonna be beautiful landscape with bushes and trees.
Well,
And And now I'm
is-
hearing chain link fence.
It is, well, because of the drop off at the wall. I mean, if you'd like us to
We
consider a
haven't-
more attractive fence or something.
There is landscaping stuff and that, and the DRB can do that. However, there is an issue also that when we're talking about parking. That you guys do have to request a waiver for. So if you look on my staff notes, it notes that subsection B of section 6.1.2 notes the minimum width for parking patterns. And the issue that you have there is because you have two-way parking, like you have people coming in and coming out of that.
Yeah.
The requirement for that is 25 feet.
Yeah.
You propose 22 feet because otherwise you would have to cut down the space. You don't have enough space to have the length and width requirements for the parking aisles themselves.
Yeah, and that's,
You would have to request a waiver.
that's supportable by evidence, the ULI's dimensions of parking. Allow for a range, and because it's only 12 spaces. I'm pretty confident that people will learn how to navigate that.
Right, but that's just that you do have to, that is gonna have to be a formal waiver.
We have to write a response.
Well, I would say, you could request that, like, that's what you'd be requesting that the board grant you that waiver.
So we're requesting
You
a
could do it
waiver.
verbally.
Yeah, we're requesting a waiver from the 25-foot aisle width for a parking lot to the 22 feet we show.
Are there any standards for the width of the road going down into that?
There isn't specifically for that. I did not notice that in my staff notes. It doesn't mean that's not necessarily there. I think that would strike me more as a public work specification. However, there is also the fact that if it's too small or whatever, there is a, you're not gonna dynamite a building and move it, you know what I mean, to give it more space. It's kind of what's there is kind of there, you know what I mean? So it's not like, you know, you're not gonna jack this up, move it 10 feet to
We
give
should-
yourself more space. That's not gonna happen, so. But I do think that, you know, that is,
Can we just go to?
you know, it is tight back there, I think.
Then we
by
I think we're.
Estimation, there's a lot going on there, between just
Oh, yeah,
coming in and out, and that's not your, that's just what the.
Yeah.
What the site is.
yeah.
But I think, again, Greg, when you and Lisa and I met, I
Yep.
think Lisa and I were comfortable because you made it sound like it was gonna be so pretty back there. And then I come to the meeting tonight and you say chain link fence and,
Well, I didn't say chain link fence, but.
oh, I'm sorry.
I
you did, you did.
No, I think, but I think.
You can help but think why I'm
there's new-
nervous.
There's new trees back there, there's new landscaping, it's
Wanna go
curved
back
and
to
paved.
where is-
I believe
you
it's
have a
gonna be
landscape.
substantially more attractive than what's there now.
This is the landscaping maintenance plan.
Because, we've got the evergreen hedge, which pretty much rings around the thing. And then we've got those three maples, which there were no other places to plant them with all the utilities back there.
What is the sheet that have?
But that will shade that parking lot and, you know, I mean, if you're saying, I don't like the sounds of a chain link fence, there are other fence profiles we can order.
Yeah,
We
so
just need
that's the
something that keeps you from driving over that wall down into the parking lot.
Right.
Or you
Right.
know, somebody backing over, just getting something out of their trunk and falling over backwards or something. It's just.
There, I'm trying to find, I'm sorry, is this is this the landscaping plan here? I was just trying to. find it.
well,
That's the
Right.
fence right there on the right. That she's talking about.
yeah,
We can submit a different kind of fence for that.
Oh, that would be great. And then the other thing, and just communication, and I know,
I would note though, so here's where this gets complicated, right? You're submitting a new fence. The DRB approves all exterior changes, so landscaping, if you want a different fence. That's fine, but the board's gonna have to approve it, if that's not what you're gonna build here.
Well, that's not,
I'm not sure we're gonna be able to close the hearing, so.
No, but that's just,
Right,
it
it seems like we're heading towards a continuation. I,
I think so.
you know.
and I'm sorry, but
Well, no, I mean, you have a right to come and bring these issues to the board. I just. It's natural that I should respond from this evening, right? I
Of
mean,
course.
you brought the issue up and we're gonna respond. David's saying we're gonna. need to
Well,
give you-
I mean, just talking to Roger, we have questions. We know we want. Some thoughts for Patrick. I just see a continuance.
Well, you know, I'd love to be done, but I think everybody's gotta be comfortable so we can move forward. And-
Right.
And,
I mean, you're asking for 6 less spaces. Denise is bringing up some other questions.
and then the other
So-
thing, communication. And I know I've got Mr. Stewart or Stewart Construction Rep on the thing, but the one time that it was a pain in the butts is when they came to replace the windows on the old building
Oh,
and you know, it was blocked.
Ms. Jameson.
We've got people that need to get in and out. And I mean, I don't want to be a bit funny, but I just would ask for communication to say, hey, we're gonna close the alley for a while.
that's not unreasonable. That's not something we do. That's the
I know.
contractor's job.
Right, so that's why I knew
But
there
it's-
was a Stewart
But it's
representative.
perfectly,
over the bank.
yeah, it's perfectly okay to say we need to keep in touch. Yeah, I
And
don't,
even if you just come to one of us, either Lisa or I,
Yeah.
we'll let all the tenants and everybody know in the log.
it's okay. Yeah, we're more than willing to work this out.
Thank you.
And Derek, did you get a chance to like look through my staff notes at all? There is some stuff here
Thank you,
that,
Denise.
given your later submissions, are kind of.
Yep.
Off the table now, like we got the interior, the layout of that, so. Obviously, my notes are reflected from the time that I. You know, I wrote them with the information that I had.
Yep.
But I think that the parking thing, so again, that would be, if we're gonna continue, you'd have to come in and. You could probably formalize that. You know, that waiver request. You know, you did formally ask for the waiver for parking, so that's gonna be already covered, so you just kind of update the narrative to kind of say you're requesting waivers for the
So.
aisle width.
Clarify for me this difference between the 22 feet and the 25. feet.
So it's weird, so it's 22 feet, right, if it's a single aisle, so like kind of if it's. If you're traveling one way. It is, I'm just trying to see here, where was it?
Like it is next door, parking on one side of the road only.
Yeah, so like. The issue would be like, if you had one aisle here and people, and this didn't exist, and you're just coming in and out, the width of that has to be 22 feet.
25 feet.
No, it's 22 if it's just one, because it's two, if you have multiple lanes, like imagine the parking was like. You had parking, both the cars are facing each other and you drive around it in a circle. That has to be, that has to be 25.
I see.
But the issue is that right here is they have single aisle width, like this doesn't exist, but they're coming in and out. From two directions.
We could push that retaining wall over, but then that's gonna beggar them on the upper side of that. Because they're parking over the line right now. And so,
Wouldn't that increase your impervious or no?
well, what I'm suggesting is we don't want
Oh,
to do
no,
that.
that's gravel today.
Right. Oh, well, that's what I'm trying to say, is
Right,
it's gonna
right. I
make
guess
your
it wouldn't,
impervious
right.
more
But-
worse.
Typically, and I'm not. Typically, when we design parking lots, it's 18, 24, 18. That's what pretty much a standard 60 feet wide between curb to curb. We're showing 58 by 22 as the aisle. The standard is 25, and that's why, but from experience, that 22 is about as tight as I like to ever cut it for a car backing up.
Have you approached or tried to approach Cindy at all for working with her in the back there? Cause she's got a
Yeah.
fair amount of distance.
I know she does. There's quite a bit of drop between her property and ours, which is part of the problem. We'd have to kind of grade her land down to meet up to us. She's a little sensitive about parking and stuff anyhow.
Oh, really?
Well, not in a bad way, but I mean, she's got lots of students and, that's a busy business. But
Okay. I just asked.
I know, I thought about it, but we never approached her because of the grading solution.
Just so I'm clear on this. You're proposing. How many apartment units total?
6.
There'll be 6 total apartment units.
There are 2 in the existing building
Right.
and 4 in the new building.
And the existing building houses the funeral home. And
2 apartments.
And 2 apartments, and that's all that's in that existing building. Is that
Yes.
correct?
That's correct.
How much square footage goes into those 2 apartments in the existing building? Roughly.
They're about 1,000 square feet apiece.
Okay, and how many square feet per unit in the new building will those apartments be?
Oh, the new apartments, probably
About
closer to
700 square feet apiece.
700 square feet for 4.
each one, so
I-
2,800
I get it.
total, yeah.
Okay,
2-bedroom.
2 bedroom, 2 bath, in-unit laundry.
Which is why they have the two car. Parking requirement.
got it.
They're nice units and, with big windows facing Depot Street and, roughly 10-foot floor to floor.
Oh.
So.
Well, so I think there's a bunch of questions that we have
Okay,
that the board will need to deal with. And I don't want to close the hearing because in doing so, if we have questions, then we might want to bring you back. So I think what I would like to do is continue the meeting.
Okay.
I want to get some response from Patrick on that stormwater question. And I want you to rethink, or not rethink, but consider some of the things Denise has discussed.
sure.
Turning diagram might not be a bad idea too for that alley, just to see like what it looks like to have cars go through there.
Okay.
That might just help
This-
clarify some of
This would not be the place to own a 10-cylinder Cummins diesel extended cab.
No, it wouldn't.
But my Hyundai Kona would fit in there like a dream,
I got a hatchback, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's all reasonable as long as we can get
I mean, I
it.
think you have a good project here, and I don't disagree with you. Right, it's a project Richmond could use.
Yeah.
Commercial, I don't know, I mean, I think,
That's an outgrowth of your regs, honestly. I think my client.
We don't have it, and I've talked to. If I could change one thing in the regulations, I would probably get rid of that ground floor commercial requirement.
If
Although-
you wanted to approve it, the owner would love 6 units there instead of 4 units. So
They don't let me
I'll
do
just
that.
put that out there.
This is an important urbanism concern to have ground floor
it
retail.
worked
That's
well
great.
in Essex for Essex Center area, I know, a lot of that places. Commercial on the first floor and
We've done all of that.
residential upstairs.
Pretty much. I did 4 Pearl Street and 9 Park and 11 Park and yeah, luckily those apartments paid for it because it took a long time to fill that space up.
There's a few things I would change, but that would be one of them.
Retail is increasingly tough, as Jeff Bezos swallows the world. And little stores are, but that's downtown Richmond. It works here. And so, we're happy to be part of that.
So I would entertain a motion to continue this to the next meeting, which is
Second.
July 14th. 12th.
Oh, 1 second here, guys. Yeah, let me just double check and then. July, June. Why is this clear like that? Hang on. a minute. Using my- Give me a- There.
Sound of the drum.
So that would be July 12th.
Okay.
Wednesday, July 12th at 7 PM.
So we continue to July 12th.
Very good.
Is that your motion? Roger,
It is.
Second.
David, you got a second on that?
Yep.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you for your time.
I appreciate your project and what you put into it. Let's see if we can
Yeah, and we'll
clean
get
up a
Greg
few of
and
those
get
answers.
put together. I'll send you guys a memo.
Okay, that's all.
What the board's looking
Shopping
for.
list is always nice.
I'm happy to,
Denise,
ideally
thanks for
before
your
the
input.
meeting,
Thank you for
set a
listening.
time.
Thank you.
And you guys have an idea of when you think you could get stuff together. I'll,
A lot of this is pretty straightforward, like, a different kind of fence.
we'll set a time just to go over, make sure we checked all the
Yeah.
boxes.
Great.
And then before we come back in.
Do we have a busy schedule or do you anticipate?
Shaping up to be busy so far. We got two continuations. I haven't gotten anything else in the pipe.
Continuations, though, we don't have to open up the whole thing again, so continuations usually tend to be fairly quick.
I do worry about Champlain housing. I think that that's gonna turn into a little bit more of a bear than what. you
Well,
think, depending on.
Let's
what
wait
it
and
is.
see what the town engineer
Yeah.
says on that one.
That's really unexpected from them.
It was unexpected for me. I rolled in there on Friday and it was.
I'll bet the neighbors felt it was fairly unexpected.
There's nothing, they had a pile of stumps sitting at the end there and I'm like, well, I could issue you a stop work order, but I'm like, there's no. You've already done the damage. You might as well at least make it not look like crap, so.
Well, I do appreciate your time, especially this late hour. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Greg. How's your knee?
Oh, you know what? I walked in here, right?
I saw you.
I'm about 9 weeks out from my surgery and I still know it's there, but I'm getting around with it.
Improvement?
New knee?
I got brand new knee.
Is it an improvement?
Not yet, but it will be. I mean, it's still a little sore, but
Yeah. Hey, David, can you hear us all right? I'm sorry you're waving, I'm looking short.
thanks.
No,
John.
no, do we have another one? That was everything, right?
Yeah, we have,
Well, I don't know. We're pretty worn out.
Ours is simple. We're all done.
No, we're not. No, you submitted some stuff that we haven't looked at yet, including your master plan. And it just came in today.
Okay.
There's just no way that I had time to look at it. I'm not sure anybody else did.
I did not look at it.
So-
There's, just to clarify, you guys, well, for one, I'm not sure how we got to be put on sick. So how does that work? I'm just,
So how it
we're going to the next one and we were at the last one. Does that mean all 6 of those had all their information in before the last meeting?
I put it together and then I kind of run it through by the chair to see what, if he's happy with the order and that's how it goes.
Yeah, we'll try it. we'll bump you up in the
Yeah,
schedule.
we could try and.
That's
do
not-
that. I-
that's
what
not
I try to
fair-
do
it's
is I
not
kinda
fair to
work
you.
from Least complicated to most complicated. So typically, plan unit developments are the most complicated thing we have, which is why.
But
I
we're-
save the most time.
We're a fair amount of the way through yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
and,
make yours first next time, but let's bump it.
Okay, so just in summary, nothing's changed. I think we were continuing to just get some clarifications to Tyler, the erosion control plan.
And on-
For the
And on the roof,
engineer to review. Removing the angled pieces on the roof.
Yeah, and the new site.
our engineer was gonna review.
So Tyler, and this is nothing, good news is Tyler, I don't want to paraphrasing here, but I did forward you the letter. That he feels that with some exceptions, like say most of the stuff has been. Meets the standards, obviously they have to get state permits that they have to get, but that's. As far as the town regulations go, that's good. There is one thing to note is that I did receive public comment.
Yeah, I
The
saw
gentleman
that.
online is Paul Hoff, and then some other areas of some properties neighboring it. That was the letter I forwarded to you guys.
Saw that.
When did you get?
This I got it yesterday. So it's one of those, we're working on a process to kind of like, and I'll take some ownership on this myself, and that this is being a pretty complicated process. There's probably more review I should have done ahead of time to make sure we had all of the application materials in a state that was lend themselves to be more thoroughly reviewed initially. So I'll own that because it's ultimately my job to make sure that all the applications are good to go. But as a result, we've kind of been piecing some stuff together. We met last Friday. I posted what I had at the time, with the understanding that I would take any new stuff, send it to you with the caveat that there's a pretty good chance they wouldn't have a chance to review it ahead of time.
Well, that letter that was submitted is fairly extensive.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
on the lighting, yeah, and there's some lighting, some
Well,
other
I
stuff
mean,
it touched on.
Have you seen that letter?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
forwarded it to them the same time.
So-
The guy would come in here so we could talk to him.
Yeah, no, whatever.
They are.
I'm here, I'm online.
Are you there?
Yeah,
But are we continuing this or are we having the
It's
hearing?
up to you guys, like what if you wanted to
There's-
take
there's a
additional
motion-
stuff.
There's a motion to continue.
Yeah,
the-
I just wanted to finish on the summary. It was like.
Go ahead.
We just.
But
There
we're
was
not-
like
we're not
5
hearing.
bullet points to get narrative around, and it was the stormwater submitted for the town engineer to review, the erosion control plan for the town engineer to review. The clarity around the building elevation. That Bud submitted.
Yeah, I saw that.
Tyler just to review, it was just, we had talked about that in the previous meeting. And then summarize that in our cover letter.
Yeah.
So the master plan, David, didn't change at all, nothing. The only revision to the elevations or anything that we reviewed was. Well, it was kind of house cleaning, there was a conflict with the lighting analysis, the lighting output analysis to meet the town standards, which addresses all.
Yeah, there's,
Stuff was,
yeah.
he had a common garden area in a potential he had a stormwater pond, I think.
There was parking in.
Wait,
It was
let's
just-
not discuss what he has.
We're either having the hearing or not having the hearing, guys.
We'd like him to respond, and that's not fair to Paul. So let's continue this. We'll put you on the agenda first.
Yeah, I'm not here, so this is probably either Joe's, yeah,
Where are you off to?
or I'm, yeah, or somehow I'm on.
You can do it on Zoom.
Yeah, I'm away. That's why I didn't bother there. But it is, I get it, it's a quarter of 20 times, but.
I did try to warn you ahead of time.
I know.
Okay. Thank you. We'll put you on first and
And what we'll.
send Josie.
Is what I'll do is I'll get everything that I have uploaded.
I just to jump in there, I do not know half the stuff that Brendan's talking about. I've not been involved. So Brendan, there's someone else is gonna have to go. I've not been involved with the stormwater retention. I'm here to represent two things that I participated in and the overall project. So just,
Well, I mean, that's something you guys could work out.
yeah, no, I'm just saying, I think the next meeting is gonna be complicated. So I just don't know what I don't know. So,
put everything together and make sure we have everything. Other than that, we should be okay.
So Paul, we'll have this hearing on first, and then we can address what you submitted.
That's fine, and I was also was the point person. And there's other folks on Pleasant Street here who are interested in attending, but I was going by what Tyler said, saying that there's probably going to be continuance, so you wouldn't have time to get to it tonight. So the plan was for me to text them and they'd hop on the meeting when needed. But there's other Pleasant Street residents here who would like to attend, either via Zoom or in person as well.
Okay, fair enough.
So motion to continue, who is that by, Roger?
Roger,
I made.
Second.
second from David.
Yep.
Motion to continue. Second,
Aye.
yes, thank you, David.
So what we'll do is we'll have one last meeting together. I'll take everything I have, put it on there, look through it, make sure we're all on the same page, do we have everything that we need. And I think that'll put a thing, because there's stuff that I got, I want to make sure that I have the right version.
I think it's pretty simple. It's not, I don't know, just understand it. It's not complicated though.
No, I think we've gotten more of the big things.
Saying it's,
It's just getting together.
the board understands.
Okay, guys. Guys, do you want to, we have to motion to like adjourn or move in deliberative or whatever?
I don't think there's any
Nothing to deliberate.
So,
Well, I move to adjourn.
David,
Second.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
Good night, guys.
Thanks, David.